Identifying.
Standby one. Let's go. Let's go.
You are about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the Lance Scurv Show.
So every morning I like to have a nice glazed donut, and the sweetness in my mouth is astonishing. What you got to learn to do is you have to learn to appreciate the simple things in life, because you can take those for granted when life is going well for you. So, lately I just want to live in, honestly, I'm probably going to have to live in La La Land for a while, because, the black collar shit, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of getting old,
What's La La Land?
La La Land, partying, fast cars,
Ain't
nice
nothing wrong with
dinners.
that. Enjoy yourself.
So,
No, I thought you were talking about Los Angeles. Some people refer to Los Angeles as La La.
Is it really?
I was going to pick a bone with you, but go ahead. Exactly, yeah. That's why I asked you to clarify.
Dang, okay.
But,
yes, hello.
I gotta say, what does everybody think about the protest that went on today with the NFL?
A lot of symbolism doesn't change shit.
Well, do you know the NFL didn't start doing that old song and dance that they do till 2009 anyways, and the reason why they started it was because the U.S. government paid them to boost patriotism, to try to recruit people for the military, recruit kids for the military. They basically got paid to start doing that in the beginning. They're pawns in the game.
Well, they also, and in return for, not only do they get paid, they're the only monopoly that allowed to exist, and they operate tax-free. The entity does. So, no, they're definitely been, the billionaires that started this are the
what I don't understand is that how can Colin Kaepernick start this movement, and he don't even have a job in the NFL?
He started it, and that's the reason why he doesn't have a job. But the government and the NFL have been in collusion since day one. If you look at their status, they have a tax-exempt status, and they're allowed to have a monopoly. And that's probably because how wealthy and powerful were the original founders of the league were. So, yeah, they have a relationship.
Right, and what you have to understand is that a lot of these charities aren't really charities. And that's what my mother taught me. My mother taught me, she says, don't give to these charities, don't give to these churches, because she used to work for those charities. She used to work for those charities and those churches, and she said everybody would take the $20 bills and the $10 bills, and they would just leave the 5s and the 1s and some change. So they would just steal all the money. And then on top of that, these charities are nothing more than corporations that are organized as organizations. So, like, the head of the organization has a salary, and the people under him, the executives under him, have salaries. And it's just like a corporation, except it's tax exempt. So a lot of these charities aren't really charities. It's just a legal way of doing bribery and sheltering your money.
Yeah. And that's where you get the whole sports and politics really don't mix.
Obviously, I thought that. That's what I thought. Sports and politics don't mix, but we're watching them mix.
Well, here's the thing. The United States is not even a nation anyways. It's a corporation, a free Masonic corporation, and it's owned by the Bank of England. And it's registered as a corporation. So a lot of people have been duped.
That doesn't stop me.
A lot of people have been duped because
you know what? I agree that that's true. That doesn't stop me from
blind loyalty and patriotism in this worship. They're essentially worshiping a Freemasonic corporation in which they are the slaves of.
We've been indoctrinated since day one when we have to pledge allegiance to the flag every time we went to first grade, second grade. It starts from the beginning, and that's what nation states do. However, even though that's true, that hasn't stopped me from doing anything I wanted to do.
Hasn't stopped me either. And what it did do is it gave
now together more than ever.
I know that that's true, and I never focus on it to think it. It doesn't cross my mind when it comes to anything that I want to do. Anything that I do this weekend, I went and played cards. I went to the USC Berkeley football game. I'm drinking beer. I'm fried some chicken fingers. I'm happy. I got some cherry
I'm happy too, and the reason I'm happy is because I established my own freedoms and my own laws.
But there's so many focus on that stuff that doesn't directly affect them or stop them from doing something. I just think it's a little silly. You're not here for a long time. You're here for a good time. Enjoy yourself. Like La La Man, La Land. That's all.
La La Man. Jack, they just...
What's his name? That's Harlem. Yeah.
Hello?
It just sucks nowadays, that, I mean, you would think something that's so innocent as, playing a game wouldn't have to do anything with, billion-dollar corporations, but yeah, sadly it does.
Well, Mark Davis from the Raiders made a pretty strong statement. In fact, I'm going to find it and read it to you guys. Basically, what he said, he didn't want the players. He didn't want the players to protest in the uniform, right? And then he said, ever since then, he's in Oakland. In fact, the Coliseum is right in the middle of East Oakland. And then he said, well, you know what? Since then, the things have changed. The streets have got hot. The streets have got hot. He said, I'm with the shit. Even though I saw him standing up there with his hand on his heart.
Hello.
So
it's symbolism.
So
you know what? They're making a small little stand. You don't see athletes do it. It's symbolism. It doesn't change shit. It's cute. Makes you feel good. If all of them stuck together, if all of the black players, when Donald Sterling, when that shit came out, if all the black players would have just said, man, fuck this shit. We ain't playing. Would have shut it down. But
right, but see that's.
But they didn't do that because nobody wants to lose what they got.
Right, but that's
even if you guys were to ask yourself on your job or on your situation, are you willing to put it all on the line for an ideal? Most of us aren't.
No.
Okay,
no, yeah,
you're
right.
But dude, for real, that's easy to say when you don't have $1 million mansion to take care of, cars, your baby mamas.
Sir, my responsibilities are as important to me as theirs are to them, right? I don't get anything.
I mean, you say that, but the reality is that if all those Donald Sterling, L.A. Clippers players, if they all protested, the reality is that a lot of people wouldn't have supported them. They would have been left out there to cold.
No, I'm not talking about the L.A. Clippers. I'm talking about every player in the league. The league is 85 black at least.
I'm going on.
Every player in the league say, fuck this.
Right. And you say that, but nobody's going. Yes, I understand that, but I'm trying to break down your Donald Sterling example, okay? So, if all those LA Clippers players would have protested at that time, nobody was going to support them, okay? They would have been left out there for cold. I mean, look at Colin Kaepernick.
I disagree. I totally disagree.
Well, let me finish, please. If you look at Colin Kaepernick, did you see how little support he got at first? The time wasn't right to protest for the Donald Sterling or Colin Kaepernick did it at a right. He did it at the very beginning. He had to get warmed up though, because a lot of people didn't support Colin Kaepernick. I supported him though. But what I'm saying is that's easy to say, but the reality is a lot of these players would have been left out. They wouldn't have been able to pay their bills. Okay,
imagine if Martin.
Hold on, no. Not necessarily so. Not necessarily so. I think if they would have acted in unison after one weekend where 35 games aren't played in the middle of the playoffs, that's when it happened, I think the league would have capitulated.
Yeah, no, sir. Thank you for that pipe dream. When it happens, let me know.
Look, none of us know what would have happened. We're talking in a conditional thing.
So I'm just giving.
We
I'm
all
giving
know
you
that
reality.
the Constitution is. We all know that the so-called flag and all this about the United States is built on a bunch of BS, right?
Yeah,
we're in a state of war and the Constitution is suspended.
No, this country is built on lies and bullshit, but we try to just act like everything is okay, and if somebody does something, well, they didn't get support because blah, blah, blah. It's like people who are comfortable don't care about supporting anything.
Some bullshit where there's a ruling class and an underclass.
There's
no ruling class is power.
The only thing that's ruling anything is all the way in fucking Rome. It ain't ruling here.
Exactly.
It ain't ruling here.
Here's what I wrote yesterday.
What I asked you, ma'am. What I asked you was, do you think that there's a country anywhere?
Let everybody talk. We didn't have enough time all night. We don't have to cut nobody off. Let everybody get their points too. Listen, relax it down a little bit, Beasley. We don't have to cut nobody off.
I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, okay. All right, bye-bye. Continue on.
Bye.
Wow.
You have a good night.
Yeah, well, hey, I want a good conversation. I don't want to just have somebody come to disrupt and upset and whatever. We're going to flow good tonight. You know what I mean? And you understand. He understood. So go on, make your point, Heidi. We're going to have a good time tonight.
Go ahead, Heidi. Go ahead.
Okay. What I'm saying is very simple. What you see is one thing. It's like smoke and mirrors with everything that goes on. It's not just the United States. It's the entire planet that we're on. Now, you can go along with the comfort of, well, as long as I take care of me, I can live my life like this, and this is how everything works. No, it doesn't. Because it doesn't matter if you're here in the United States, in China, or wherever the hell you think you at. Because you're in your comfort zone, everything is fine. It doesn't work like that. And with the amount of crap that comes along with this country and all its so-called origins of what, with smallness, like the facts are not facts. The facts are what people want you to believe are facts. You can't say that when somebody's doing something, anytime you go against whatever the flow or the comfort zone is, it's going to be a problem. Now, it's not just about a person standing up because people have been mistreated and things have gone on. This is an everyday thing. This hasn't stopped. It didn't stop before. It's not going to stop now. But when you're in your comfort zone and you think everything is flowing because you can go and, we went to work Monday through Friday, you have the weekend off, you can do whatever you want because you worked. Nobody cares. That has zero relevance to anything. It's more, you have to look at the bigger picture of everything. The government is not just the United States. You can't have a puppet without a puppet master. You can't have puppets if somebody's not pulling strings somewhere. So it's not just about what somebody is, the way things are flowing to make it. There's bigger things that are going on. And it's not because I was in the military alone that I know certain things. There's a lot of ways of getting people to stay in a status zone for what they want. Whether it's, okay, you got the police going around shooting people. You got some of them blatantly going on television and things saying, okay, we only shoot black people. Or and it's like there's bigger things behind that. And if you're just looking at, okay, somebody knelt down because the flag is fucked up, or people burn the flag, or whatever they do with it, people's lives and blood has died on for what? So that somebody can just keep going, oh, I go to work, I do my job, I pay my bills. That's life. This is how this shit works. No, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, when you go 6 feet in the ground, the people who missed you, they buried you, fine. They're going to miss you for a couple of weeks. Then they're going to go back to their regular routine. They're not going to fuck that you had a job, you worked hard, you paid your bills. Nobody cares. Like, people have to go past all that shit. Stop with this, oh, I did what I had to do. That is not going to stop. Whatever is going on, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping people who are bad. Good is always going to conquer of all of this, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So, hell with the United States, hell with this, it's like, stop with this. This country has too much smoke and mirrors going on for everybody. Like, oh, it's this. No, we are 9/11, all these things that go on in the United States is a setup. There's a setup. These hurricanes, these manipulation of things, it's a setup for something else. So if you go along with the fact that whatever you see, 9/11 was a bunch of BS because a plane would hit a building. If a plane hits water and crashes and breaks in half and then demolishes in the process of that, how can it hit a building, go through a building and not break in pieces? How does that happen? Like, look at the bigger picture of what these things are. We agree to a lot of things because, okay, well, it didn't happen in front of my doorstep, so it's not my problem. Well, it's still your problem, even though it didn't happen in front of your doorstep. Because you have to live in the same place with the same shit. So it doesn't matter.
I wrote something yesterday.
I'm sorry.
I wrote something yesterday that to pretty much sum it up. And what I wrote was, I said, your borders were established on genocide. Your history is based on lies and mindfuckery. Your culture is based on fake food, synthetic medicine, chemically created water, cheap, shiny plastic shit made in China, TV, and video games. You believe you are part of a nation, but it's really a parasitic Masonic corporation owned by the Bank of England. Ever wonder why the rest of the world came up with the legitimate term, dumb American? Think about it for a minute. You might find that the joke is on you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you. Somebody with some sense.
Right. So what you have to understand, the joke about that is that technically the Chinese are getting the reputation for being the worst travelers now because they go around and deface things and put graffiti on things, is what some people say. So, like for instance, one time a Chinese child wrote his name on the temples of Egypt. He actually took a metal pen or something and he carved into the stone on the wall of a piece that was thousands of years old. And he just completely defaced it. And, he just put his Chinese name in there. So, yeah. Chinese are getting a bad reputation at the moment.
I personally think that we got here because people, fear porn. I think that people allow fear to allow what's happening to us right now.
I really think it's political correct. Yeah, no, I think it's political correctness, but yes, please continue.
They were sold baseball, apple pie, and a false illusion of comforts and liberties called a constitution. That's how we got here. The people bought the package, hook, line, and sinker.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Too many people
how
are
we
living.
got here. We have allowed this to get to this point.
Right. So so a lot of these people, a lot of this, I don't know about whatever the term you used. I don't really like. Oh well, I didn't really like that term because it is somewhat. I mean, it is the truth, but I think it could have been.
It's the
worded
truth,
better.
and there's no way to dumb down the truth.
No, I'm not talking about you, Renee, Lisa Renee. I'm talking about the other lady. But I prefer the term political correctness because that's what makes people afraid to say anything. Is that it's not politically correct. Well, the problem with that is when you allow someone to frame the conversation in a sense and say what can or can't be spoken about, that automatically creates an environment where for people to tell open lies and then nobody challenges these lies. And so, you have people who think Barack Obama is the greatest thing ever, but if you say Barack Obama was a piece of shit, which he was, people are like, oh man, that's blasphemous. You're talking about Obama here. But right. Obama didn't do anything. Obama let people get shot down. Obama told black people to stop raising up when they're angry about the police shooting them. So, people need to stop rioting. This is because of a lack of fathers in the home and this, that, and the third. And, stereotypical shit. And a lot of people don't get that Barack Obama was a white person in a black person's skin. Or better yet, he was raised by the racist white portion of his family. And he grew up learning their mentality. So Barack Obama wasn't really anybody's friend if you were black or if you
He was the same thing. He was the same thing the rest of these presidents are. They are the poster boy. They are the poster boy for the deep state shadow government. It's all according to a script. Both wings belong to the same bird, and they are all actually under the rule of the Queen of England.
Yeah.
Okay, because Barack Obama can't do nothing. Trump can't do nothing. They are operated by the deep state and the shadow government that has wrote the script out for them, and they're just the face that we get to see, so we can then turn on each other. Oh my God, Obama's this. Oh my God, Trump's that. That's all it is at the game.
Can I say
That's
something?
The way I see it.
Where's the I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, who was talking?
That was someone else. But please go ahead.
It's like when we get on here, and I'm not saying that, this is an open forum. We are to speak. But if we're going to speak about stuff, we need to stop trying to put this, I do what I'm supposed to do. That's right. And no, it's like we're here to discuss the stuff that's going on every day. This is not just, okay, yeah, Obama, everything, like the two of y'all are saying, there's more to what people are trying to cover up. There's more to all this stuff. It's like, this is not the time to be trying to pity pat or say, oh, is the government this? You cannot stop something that has a rotation. You can try to awaken yourself and understand your situation of where you're at and try to do better and try to get around like-minded people on the same page. But if you are more concerned about that you can do some shit on the weekends, excuse me for cursing, but it's like we got bigger issues to be dealing with, not somebody's personal 40 acres in their mule conversation. Now, anybody can talk. I'm pausing. I'm going to put my phone on mute.
I agree. And so, for our next subject here, what do you all think about professional? What do you all think about professional eating? Now, I watched a guy eat 108 tacos. Okay, I watched him eat 3 Pizza Hut pizzas and a giant bowl of chicken wings. And honestly, sometimes I think this is just a waste of food. But if you go on YouTube, you can find these professional eating videos of people just eating these massive amounts of food. And honestly, I think it's a sign of decadence that you have to eat that much, because honestly, your stomach's all stretched out. And then on top of that, if you do it too much, you can stretch your stomach out to the point where it can't digest food and the acid is too thin. So
well, here's what I think about it. It's not food anyways. It's a food-like substance, and it's made out of petroleum and MSG and formaldehyde and flame retardant and everything. And it's made out of DNA, genetically modified cell lines. It's not food. It's the food that's not food. All these chicken wings and these pizzas and these hot dogs and cakes that they're having a contest and eating, or professional eating, whatever it's called. And if they only had one normal size serving, it wouldn't digest anyways, because it's not food and the body does not know how to use it. That's my take. That's all that comes to my mind when I think of this stuff.
I have a quick question for you, Doctor. Sorry.
Movement every morning. I mean, I know there's a lot of preservatives, a lot of GMOs going on out there, but for the most part, I mean, a lot of the stuff I eat comes straight from the dairy farms, and I pretty much know these farmers firsthand.
I wanted to ask you about that RH negative.
But not all of us know dairy farmers, sir.
That's true. There are resources to get the stuff. There's a lot of resources out there.
Or just don't have the dairy at all. If you can't get something right from the real source that you can verify, then you probably just don't need it at all. Because what good is a chemical substitute that's not real?
So,
that's
you
all
could go to a dairy farmer.
With all this food out there, we're just slowly killing ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of this stuff is modified.
Right, but, sir, I mean, why can't you all just go to Whole Foods, huh? You know what I mean? And pay $20 for like 4 Oreos worth of a pastry,
I only do single ingredient Whole Foods in their raw live form. If I need stuff, if it comes in a package, a box, a can, a pre-made, I don't touch it. I buy single ingredient Whole Foods, and I only eat what's prepared from my own hands in my own home. And if that sounds extreme,
corn that I get still has dirt on it. That's the type of natural good stuff that I'm getting.
Right.
Well, I mean,
like those apples I'm getting for.
Right. The thing is,
I'm getting those.
A lot of farmers are having trouble with these corporations engineering their seeds, and then they have problems with their seeds mysteriously blowing into their cornfields. So a lot of this stuff has been modified, even if you grow it naturally, because a lot of these corporations have modified these seeds, and then they blow them into people's fields, and then they want to charge you for it.
Jack, that's why you don't touch anything.
Yeah.
But that's a real easy solution to that. You don't eat anything that has any corn, soy, canola, or wheat in it. You just don't touch it. If it has anything of these things in it, you don't touch it, because there's no such thing as real corn, canola, wheat, or what was the other one that I said? There's no soy. There's no such thing. So you just don't touch it. And that's going to include just about 100% of processed items on the shelf. Single ingredient Whole Foods. Because you're right, there's no such thing as real corn. And even Heritage Seeds, which is a heirloom seed company, they say, buy these seeds at your own risk. There is no way we can possibly guarantee them due to global contamination. And it's the same way with the wheat. Even wheat that's marked organic is pre-soaked in Roundup, which is Agent Orange, okay, and it has 63 chromosomes, where real wheat originally only had 12, and it's crossbred with the opiate plant, so everybody gets addicted, and that's why it's in all the prepackaged bullshit.
Exactly, prepackaged. You got everybody has to stop eating that prepackaged, all processed food.
So how do you go about getting food that is not processed from a supermarket?
Buy single ingredient whole foods.
You look for your local farmers market. You go to your local, you say your Whole Foods and stuff like that. You get information cards and you start branching out. But it all starts from a farmers market. Go to a farmers market, actually talk to the person, get to know them, where they're located, what crops they're growing, and actually, talk to them about their crops. Most farmers are going to tell you, they're by law they have to tell you. They have to.
Right.
But here's the tricky thing.
Can you please turn up your microphone, because you're way low, dude. Like, can you put the phone up to your mouth, because we have a hard time here. I'm having a hard time hearing you. That's all.
Is this better?
With the farmers markets, what I have found, and I shop at this one farmers market that's excellent, Fresh Time, but when I went to the local farmer stands around here, which we have plenty of them, I've gone in and I have asked them, what kind of pesticides, herbicides, or fertilizers do you use? And I get a blank fluoride stare. Oh, I don't know. We have a company contracted out that comes out and sprays. We don't know what they use. And I've had a few of them have tried to go on the company website that they use and search online and see if they could give me an answer, and they can't. That's when I know to say, okay, thank you, have a good day. And that's happened to me more times than not.
Exactly.
Where are you located at?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay. We're in Texas. That's why. Well, some of us are, but
it should be really easy for you if you're in Texas. But that's where you want to start.
Yeah, Texas, home
Start at your local farmers market, and that's the best way to go about it. Find out where your nearest Whole Foods or like a Sprout or your healthy eating stores are at.
Go back the other way.
Okay, so what is this diet consist of? They're so healthy.
Okay, somebody's phone is echoing.
And I don't know what to do.
So, as I was saying, sir, what does your diet consist of that makes it so healthy?
Go. Call 911, so hopefully they come. I just opened up my computer. Just walking out there.
Someone's calling 911 apparently.
Get up, and go. I just want y'all to stay online with me so people know I did not take a date. Get up, baby, get up. Please get up. Get up.
Can you put your phone on silent, please?
Apparently someone's calling 911.
Walk that way.
What's going on?
I hope they're okay.
It's not my phone. But
everything all right, y'all?
Walk that way, baby.
I'm all right.
Somebody's on the phone with 911.
Or he keeps saying, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go into my app and I'm going to take care of that. Just bear with me.
Are you there, Heidi?
Yeah, I'm here.
I
wanted to ask you about that RH negative stuff that you and Lance were talking about, because I was sleeping, but I went on YouTube to look at the show. Could you kind of give me a little more in depth on what the difference is between somebody who's RH negative or O negative compared to the things of an O positive person or anybody that has the negative.
I don't know what it is.
Yes, I can. And if you want to also friend me on Facebook, because I mean this is like never-ending information. It's a whole completely different type of blood. It's a completely different mineral base. Okay, it's an electrical type of blood, which means it's very sensitive to energy, whether it be, organic energy, real life energy, or it be direct energy weapons, or, and technology and things like that. It's very sensitive. And because of that sensitivity is where the negative blood groups typically end up being the people that are called psychics or gifted or gifted healers, because of their sensitivity to energy and able to manipulate it. The other thing is the negative blood cannot be cloned. Okay, this is one of the reasons why there is a big push for O-negative people to donate. They say it's because we are the universal donor, and they also say that there's not enough supply for O-negative who would need blood, because O-negative can only accept O-negative blood. But however, the truth is they want your blood because they want to experiment with it. There's so many things about it. First of all, no scientist or no doctor can explain where this blood type originates from. It has two different immune systems, like I said. It's immune to many of the diseases. And it can't be cloned. There's so much to it, and they want to experiment with it.
Well, the reason I said that because I'm O-neg, and I know I don't get sick and stuff like most people do and other things like that. But
I will tell you what will make you sick, because this thing called Western medicine and Western pharmaceutical, which the food is the same thing that's in the pharmaceuticals, is not compatible for the negative blood types, particularly O. You will have rejection issues. You have to be very careful about any kind of food, medicine, or cosmetics that have any kind of cell lines in them, because that's just like taking blood that's not a match for you. And when you things will reject, and then they call it autoimmune disease. There's also, and I'm not real educated on the copper issue. I'm studying it now, and I use copper myself, but it's literally a conspiracy for to keep copper out of us and to keep iron in us. And copper is a very big, important factor with the Rh negative blood. So look into that. I'm just studying it myself. I'm not real educated enough to give you any facts on that, but look that up yourself.
No, I'm saying because, I noticed that people who have our blood type, like, I've gone to a few blood banks, and it's like they want you to, because, when you go and donate blood, you're supposed to wait, like, I think a week or whatever it is before you come back, or 2 weeks to do it. Yeah. And the few times I've gone, they try to take more than 8 ounces or whatever. You know how they say they take whatever plasma thing that they need? But it's like, it's like as though they don't want you to go. And it's like, you're like, I can only give you so much. Like, I need my own blood. I can't just keep donating like that.
Yes, they want.
And then they get upset when you tell
blood.
them that you're not going to give them anymore.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you what else. These filthy Luciferians, they feed off of it. It's supposed to be like the key to longevity and youth, okay? And they feed off of it. That's why they want our blood. They're experimenting with it. They're trying to figure out why it's immune to so many diseases. They're trying to figure out how can they clone it.
Like in the military, they put your blood type on your dog tags. They put they put your name, your social security number, your blood type, and then something else, and then whatever. And it's like, I try to figure out why they were doing that, but I thought, well, maybe when, if somebody gets hurt, they can make sure that they get the same blood type or stuff. But I felt like there's like something else behind it. Like
there is. And when anybody who's born in the United States, okay, their blood type is it goes into a database, and along with your blood type goes your birth chart, your planetary birth chart of when you were born. And they use this to match up personality profiles on people. What is this person capable of? Because it's a blood type that is associated with very high intelligence. So, I mean, when babies are born, that all goes into a database and it's kept track of. And that has a lot to do with why a lot of targeted people and a lot of people that have been entered into research programs are H-negative blood.
Well, I wasn't born in the United States to say. I was born in the Virgin Islands, but, I grew up on a lot of homegrown stuff. And I noticed, like, since I've been up here in the U.S., like, when I eat certain things or use certain things, like, it just, like, the way I eat is a whole lot different. I don't eat a lot of meat. I don't eat a lot of different things because it's like I feel like when I eat certain things, it makes me sick. Like one day it was my husband and I went and took a tetanus shot. His shot stopped hurting. How many days? He was hurting for 2 days. My arm, this is like, what, over a week now? And my arm is still hurting from this shot. And I'm like, I remember why I didn't want to take that shot when I was in the military the first time, because of how long it took for me to get, feel better. Now it's like I'm going through the same thing again. And I'm like, I wonder, I was telling my husband, I was like, I wonder that they doubled up on the medicine in my arm because, like, this is not supposed to do this.
You're having rejection issues. You're having rejection issues due to the aborted fetal cell lines called human diploid that is in what's called the tetanus shot. There's really no such thing as a tetanus shot. It's a cocktail of 3 other vaccines, and it's not even tetanus. But you're probably having rejection issues. And in addition, because you're an electrical blood type, your body is going to really respond in a negative way to heavy metal toxicity, being the aluminum in it, and whatever other heavy metals are in there. But all injectable, liquid-based medicines are preserved with aluminum, and our body rejects it, and that's why we are typically the ones that get what they tell us are autoimmune disease, which would be your fibromyalgia, your lupus, multiple sclerosis, all these funny neurological diseases. It's a lot of people with negative blood types, they get them from the vaccine.
She was walking up the middle of the road when I was coming out.
So,
we followed the whole way down to the post that.
Are you there, Heidi?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah. I was saying that, like,
conference locked.
I know a lot of people who've had chicken pox and things like that. I want to say I've not ever had that. And when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy, or like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I actually grew up. I didn't come to the United States till I was 8. So, when I came up here, like, I don't understand. Like, I'm almost, when I try to tell people a lot of the diseases I hear people have, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I've never gone through that kind of stuff. And they're like, but, you've been here, you've gone through the school system here, and I'm like, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't catch stuff and get sick like some people do. I wonder if is that maybe part of the reason is the blood rejecting all this stuff, and
It could be, and another reason why you typically don't get a lot of the sickness that other people get is because you weren't born here, and you didn't spend the first eight months of your life here, and your mother didn't carry you here. So you were being out of the country. Your immune system is probably a lot better off than the kids that are born here. You know, you said you were raised on raw food and you know, raised pretty much on a really clean lifestyle when you were in Virgin Islands. That would have a lot to do with the development of your immune system from the time you were in the womb up through your, you know, first 8 years, which is when your immune system is developing from the time, you know, the time you're a small child. So that probably gave you a huge head start ahead of everybody else that's here in the military.
Like when I think I was saying when I was in the military, like, you know, the flu shot thing where they make it so mandatory that you have to take this thing. Like when in the military, if you refuse to take the flu shot, they don't pay you. Even though some people may not want to discuss that, but I used to I try to figure out why they make it such of a threat like that. I mean, they don't really do that to civilian people out here, but they do it to us. Like, you know, I mean, I damn near almost got kicked out of the military because I refused to take a flu shot.
Well,
you know,
I refused to take an.
They told me that they were not going to pay me for a whole month if I didn't take this thing, and then they threatened me with some other bunch of BS, and I was like. I was like, why should I take something that I know doesn't work or it has the tendency to kill somebody? And you're telling me that you're going to threaten me for taking something that I know is not good? And I'm in the military. Like, I think that's what kind of got me to the point of a lot of things when it came to the government. Like, you know, like you were saying, you know, you are a guinea pig for a lot of things. But it's not just people in the military that are guinea pigs. You have the people out here, like the sterilization program that they have going, they've been going, where you have men or women in prison who have X amount of children, and they're sterilizing them to a certain degree so that when they come out here and go sleep with somebody, the person they sleep with gets sterilized, and that person can't have any more children. But 9 times out of 10, it's like, you know, it's like there's a lot of things that the government is doing, and it's not just us, you know, not just anybody in the military.
They're not just sterilizing people in prison; they're also sterilizing
they're
the
doing
general
it to
public.
babies too, so their children don't have any more kids. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. These Gardasil vaccines. These Gardasil vaccines that some places are making mandatory for girls and now boys. Girls are going straight from 13 years old right directly into menopause. They're completely skipping womanhood. Completely skipping womanhood and going from 13, 14 years old to menopause if they don't end up paralyzed.
Yeah, and when you try to discuss this with people, I swear to you, it's like, you know, like the saying is you can't tell everybody everything because they either comfortable with what's going on as long as their little world doesn't get rocked, and you know, like I was saying earlier, it's like whether you think that everything is going good on your end, that doesn't mean it looks like that, but that doesn't mean you're not being chastised in the process of all that. There's ways to get around things that people need or want to do to you. They don't need to be, you know, it could be, you could have like one of those, like those blood drives and things that they have at the job, or, you know, oh, you need to get these shots. Like we worked a place and they were literally paying people to take the flu shot. They were paying to take some of whatever it was. They originally started off at $5. They shot it all the way up to $20. Then they were doing some kind of whatever it was, and I'm like, you know, it's crazy how people are just when it comes to money or anything like that, how people just bend.
I shared something from somebody on Facebook earlier, and it says, the Tuscany syphilis experiment was done between 1932 and 1972 by the U.S. Public Health Service in Macomb County, Alabama. The main purpose of this experiment was to observe the natural progression of untreated syphilis in rural African American men. This was done under the guise of receiving free health care from the United States government. That right there is what I mean when I always say the free shit is never free.
No, of course not, because there's always a way to, that's what I'm saying, like they do stuff and make you think that, okay, well, as long as you do everything, you know, that, I think I told Lance that thing about that 40 acres and the mule thing. It's like as long as you have your, and it's like the government doesn't care who they experiment on. You don't have to, even with the good old boy system, you're still going to get screwed. Nobody is.
That's the reason for all their free programs. Okay.
That's so true.
I called the stupid state of Michigan. This was back probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I told them, I said, you can keep this free package and give it to somebody else because you don't cover any kind of real health services that I use anyways. I said, I pay for my health care services out of pocket because I go to real healers. I don't go to your Nazi scientists who you cover. You know what they told me? Well, you qualify, you get it automatically. I said, well, give it to somebody else who qualifies because I don't want it. They said, well, it's there. You qualify. I said, okay. So basically it just sits there and doesn't get used. They want me to use it. They want everybody to be on these government programs because it's not about helping people. It's, the free shit is so we can be experimented on.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't stop. Some of us think that, okay, well, maybe because somebody is wealthy, they're not going to, the government's not going to do stuff to them that they'll do to a person who's poor or in between. And it's like, when does the government have feelings for anything?
They do get them, but the way that they do get the wealthy too, but the way that they do that, right, the way they do that is the guilty pay into it and support it by buying their medical insurance, and then they get experimented on. But see, for some people who can't afford medical insurance or can't afford to pay a doctor out of pocket and pay for a treatment, okay, they don't, especially those poor people that they don't want them people to slip through the cracks, so they're going to give it to you for free.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, a doctor got mad at me because they said that, and this was when I was in again, I had a primary care doctor and I never went to see the man. And then the day I decided to go see him, he said to me, why are you even here? You don't come to get your checkups. And I said, checkups? I'm like, y'all are screwing people over. Why would I come here? For what? So you can come and give me some BS shit that you have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm supposed to just swallow it. No.
Isn't it crazy?
I was like, you went to school, you went to medical school, and by federal law, again, with the government, y'all don't know if the medicine works. The pharmaceutical companies don't know if the medicine works. The only time medicines work and doctors actually look like they're important or they know what they're talking about is when a bunch of people come back to them and say, well, this magical pill you gave me, it works. I feel better. So now they're going to take this pill, pump it out to everybody, and then now it's like, oh, the doctor knows what he's talking about. No, the doctor doesn't know what they're talking about. They go to school like everybody else, and they have certain things that they do or are not allowed to do or say. They can't. There is no doctor you can go to and say, do you really know if this medicine works? Because what do most doctors tell you when you go there? How do you feel? How does the medicine, first of all, if you prescribe me something, why are you asking me how is the medication working? You went to school for 12, 10, how many years they go to school, and you're asking me how is the medicine working that you supposedly prescribed me that's supposed to work. So that means you don't know shit about what the hell you just gave me.
No, he don't, because the MD, in order for an MD to earn that MD for medical doctor behind his name, okay, that's only earned through the allopathic school, which is the Rockefeller monopolization of medical school. And they are only required 10 hours of nutrition and 3 years of pharmacology. They don't need to know how the human body works. They don't need to know anything about nutrition. Their job is not to heal. It is not to cure. It is to match a symptom up with a chemical that they got 3 years of education on the chemicals for, and only 10 years on nutrition. And something else I wanted to mention. I wanted to tell you this, Lance. Are you on the line, Lance?
And I have a few points too.
I originally found Lance because I watched an amazing episode on the show about a doctor, Dr. Z. He's in California, and he's a holistic doctor, and he was an MD, and he did an outstanding talk on, it was called The Making of Medical Doctors, Trauma-Based Mind Control. And I thought the host of that show was just absolutely amazing. I saw that lecture about 3 years ago, and it was life-changing. And then when I randomly found a... I had randomly seen you on a suggested for me video back last year, and I said, oh, that's that guy that interviewed Dr. Z. Well, it turns out it wasn't you, but right. I thought it was, and that's how I ended up hooking up with you.
Well, I'm glad you clicked on it.
but
Keep talking. I didn't mean to cut you off. And I took care of the sound problem. Go ahead.
I don't remember that host's name, but if you look up The Making of a Medical Doctor, Trauma-Based Mind Control, you should find it on YouTube, and it's a fascinating show.
Wow, I got to check that out. But it's so interesting what you're talking about, and I'm just sitting here soaking it in. I am here. I kind of was distracted for a little while, but I'm here. And like I said, you bring so much. Let me ask you both and everybody else who's here, and there will be a little noise in the back. What's the ultimate purpose of all of this? Population control, death, keeping us to be sheeple, and for what? Why all of the push with the medical deception? And so many of us think that we have to... Go ahead.
Because, okay, I'm going to answer part one, and I'm going to let the other lady answer the other part. Population control is a big business, and it's not just, like I was saying earlier, it's not just the United States. They have to, it's like slavery all over again, but they need to find the weak, they need to find the strong within the weak. So by putting these medical staff personnel out here to see who can resist compared to who can't, that's how they're getting their, how can I say, that's how they're getting their, oh man, what's the word? That's how they're getting the push for the things that they're doing. That's how they're getting, like she was saying, the free medical, and these people are just there to make it look like, they care about you, or, it's so important, but it's like they need organs, they need parts for things, they need certain people, they need, it's like they have certain requirements that they need to meet. Like you have a pig farm, and you have a farm and you have so many animals you have to feed. So you need to make sure you have the right the right nutrients for these things. So it's the same thing with the population control. It's like, okay, I need to feed off of these things so I can weed those out, so I can get what I really want So it's like using the weak to draw in the strong. You understand what I'm saying, Lex?
And I just wanted to make sure you guys, I just wanted to make a couple points to when I can.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. To back up to when you guys were talking about chickenpox, I'm 54 years old. My name is Angie, by the way, and I got chickenpox. Hi. I got chickenpox when I was in college.
Hi, Angie. I'm here. Keep talking. I just wanted to say hi.
Thanks for letting me on. I got chickenpox at the age of 38 years old, and I could have died. They say that when you get it, you know, at a certain age, you can die from it. And trust me, I felt like I wanted to die. So I just wanted to mention that. And then as far as the flu shots go, doctors get $40 a pop. And that's why they push it. They push it because it gives Alzheimer's disease and it puts all type of aluminum and different things into your system. And then as far as, just one more quick point, there was somebody said something. I just wanted to say that this whole planet is under the whole thing is a social experiment.
Exactly,
Everybody
is
targeted at different levels, and I happen to be a targeted individual. So I just wanted to say that all of these, you know, the depopulation, the racism, the divide and conquer, everything is a social experiment. These Satanists and Luciferians are deranged, and they're just about controlling. And I just also want to say I appreciate all the comments tonight that I've been hearing. I've learned a lot.
Well, to add to what you were saying, you know, when I said that earlier, that, you know, for them to feed, you can't eat crackers when you want to eat. You can't get full on crackers when you need a full plate of food. You get what I'm saying? So the crackers are the crackers are the weak people, and the full food are the ones that are going against the grain, are the ones that are realizing the ones that know what's going on are always the ones getting targeted. Now, it may not seem like you're getting targeted because, you know, you work at McDonald's or whatever the situation is, but it's like they know anytime a person is not going along with everything, but they're just that you're getting targeted, and it's like they're not going to come to you and say, hey, this one needs to be watched. You know, make sure you watch her or you watch him when they do things. They let your environment around you kind of play into that.
Exactly.
So
they do.
And the depopulation and they're building prisons, and we were having a conversation about this, where they're building prisons with the chip thing they're putting in prisoners, and it's not gonna be ran by people, it's gonna be ran by computers. And depending on whatever your crime was, or thing like that, the minute that chip expires, so does the person the chip is in. So it's like, you know, like they're building all these coffins for all these, like these FEMA camps and these different things. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. That's why I said earlier, you know, the people who feel like, you know, okay, the world doesn't control my life, I do what I want. It's like, something is still in control of you, whether you want to take acknowledgement of it or act like you don't, like it's not happening to you. And a lot of us need to stop. I mean, it's hard when you are part of a social experiment on a 24-hour basis. It's hard to not. I mean, of course, nobody wants to live on the street and wonder when they're going to eat and when they take a shower or anything else. But the thing is, yes, this is a rotation. This is, you know, everybody has their place, their time, and a location where everything has to happen. It's not a physical being in control of that. And I want people to understand that stop thinking it's a person doing this, because a person can only, we as mankind only have so much control over certain things. But entities above that, you cannot beat that. It's like I try to explain to people every day. You cannot fight with the wind, and you cannot be friends with it, because it comes when it wants and it goes where it wants. So
I'm gonna have to disagree to an extent, but please keep going.
It's it's like you have to be careful. You can't trust anything or what your eyes are seeing on a regular basis, because everything, it's like a mental trap. Like the word time. When you break that down into two things, it's time. Why would you want to be in control? Why would you want something controlling when your movements are supposed to be in a timely manner or in a this? It's like a lot of these things, these words have other side effects behind it. It's not just, a drug being put into your system or into your food or into whatever it is. It's like the words that are put out, they have some kind of repercussion behind these things. So it's like you're fighting something. You cannot fight it in your physical form. So you just have to go through whatever the process is and then die. Your soul is what has to be constantly fed and strengthened and the whole 9 yards. And this is not about religion, and this is not about, it's like, they say your faith is what carries you. The stronger your faith is, the more crap you deal with. It's because whatever is going against you does not want you to be strong. It wants to find a weakness somewhere. And if you don't have if it cannot find a weakness, it's going to use other things. So it's like you go to work every day, you do a very good job, you're never late, you don't get a pat on your back, and you might get somebody that say, you know what, you do a great job, keep working. And apart from that, that's all they're seeing is that. And it's like, why am I just, you go to any place that has people who are good workers. Good workers always get burnt out before the bad ones. Because the bad ones, they already know these people are going to be lazy, they're going to be late, they'll come to work when they feel like, or if they at work, they're going to do all kind of BS. So they're not really focusing on them too much because they already have them where they want. But the one that is working hard, it's not like they're just working hard so they can have a nice paycheck, a car, and bills. Nobody's saying that's not your concept. But if you don't go along with, if you don't play the game, you're going to get screwed.
Right.
And if your spiritual sense, if your spirituality is getting attacked, with like the majority of us who understand that, you cannot. It's hard to like try to figure. You start putting yourself into a category now where, am I losing my mind or what am I doing? Like, my body is getting weaker, but is my mind getting stronger? Like, what is, hell with taking care. It sounds bad when I tell people you shouldn't take care of your body because at the end of the day, it's going to go back to dust. But you have to look at, this thing has a time period like everything else. And if you are not taking care of the proper things, it doesn't matter how many hours you're in a gym. It doesn't matter how clean you try to eat. It doesn't matter how, none of that stuff, because at the end of the day, your spirit doesn't eat anything. Physically. It doesn't eat physical stuff. The body has to depend on, 5 or 6 different elements for it to survive. Your spirit has other things that it can survive on, and it's not food. Because if you have things that are demonic and, they don't have a beginning and an end, they don't have a time, they don't have a season, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And, you can fight them to a certain level, but you can't do it in this thing called this body or this, this. It's like we're a bunch of lab rats in a box, and they're trying to see which rat is going to last the longest. So if I can infect you physically, it's like I can, at some point, if I can infect you physically, I can somehow affect you spiritually. But a lot of people don't see it like that. They like, oh, well, you know, the government, it's just like, stop talking about the same thing. It's not going anywhere. We can bond together or we can pull apart. It's not the physical we need to save, it's our spiritual. So even with all the things going on, if we don't fix the main character in the story, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
you have to have, your strength has to come from somewhere, and if your strength is your faith, which is your soul in so many words, I feel like, and it's like if your soul is being attacked through its physical form, what else you think is going to go on behind that? So a lot of us need to like look at the bigger picture. We are all lab rats, but one of us, as a lab rat, we have to stop taking the cheese or you know, going through these little what do they call it? Like the thing they send you through when they do the thing with the mice. They put the food on one end and the mouse. Say again?
Sorry, I was thinking maze, but
like a maze. You know what I'm saying? They try to see who can get to through the maze, through all the confusion, who can see through that. And the minute you can start seeing through the confusion, now they have to come up with some other kind of way to throw you off. And that's where the fight starts. It's not now. It's like this is a constant thing. This has never stopped. It will not stop until there's no physical and it's spiritual against, you know, it's like good against bad, but not in the physical form. There's no way to fight this being the way we are. We can be all educated. We can be all that. It's not going to stop. You can't fight something that has more power than you and is able to keep you in this thing on a regular basis. Go ahead, Jack.
Can I just stop? God, that was so painful to listen to. My goodness. Oh, man. Okay. First of all, Lance, do you want to know the real deal of why all this goes on? Lance, you there? Lance.
I think he's listening.
Well,
go ahead.
I wanted to break it down for him. What you have to understand is that this world, there's so many layers to it. And, you know, one thing you have to understand is that we live in one world of many worlds. I mean, there's many worlds layered on top of this world. And it's the reason you're going through what you're going through is because in reality, you're hated not because you're black, but because of who you are spiritually and what you represent spiritually.
Right.
Okay? So what you have to understand is that there has been an invasion of this reality in this realm, okay? And it has been taken over by a different group of beings, all right? And the reason this goes on and the reason you're punished is because at the end of the day, they want you dumbed down. They don't want you educated, you know, with wisdom, that is, not their education, but, you know, with the truth and wisdom, because what they want to do is that as soon as you die, they want to use you as food. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The deeper I go, the more I realize that it doesn't matter. It isn't about black or white. It isn't about what country you're from, this, that, and the third. What it's about is that there are people at the top who want to enslave you to the point of owning you eternally, because these people who enslave you answer to beings who are higher than them, okay? And these beings want to farm you, okay? They want to use you as a food source, okay? And when you die, they want to capture you so they can feed off of you, okay? And the moment you rise up is the moment that they fall and their rulership falls. So what happens is that they manifest themselves as various obstacles that you cannot get over. And see, this is how my problem started, because, you know, I'm going through a very hard time in my life right now, and it's been a lot for me right now. And what you have to understand is that this all started, and I notice this happens to me every time I do it, okay? As soon as I say, I'm going to get back up, I'm going to get on my feet, and I'm going to take back my life again, something happens to me that slaps me back down. And it's not something in general, like, no, it's like something comes after me, okay? You know, because the first time I do it, you know, some guy gets pissed off and throws this at me. The second time I do it, my shit gets stolen, okay? And, you know, my life gets derailed like that. The third time that happens, that's when all this shit starts happening, and next thing you know, I'm on the damn ground screaming in pain because I slipped and I had an accident. You know, and now I'm trying to sit here and get this shit fixed, but there are forces that you're not aware of that want you to stay down. And this is what I wanted to ask Sophia Stewart, who created The Matrix, is who does Agent Smith represent? Because Agent Smith is a very real concept, whether you believe it or not, because you live in an in a holographic illusion, essentially, if you actually knew that what you're seeing with your eyes is not real, okay? And the only reason you think it's there is because your senses tell you it's there, but ultimately, everything is, ultimately you are reality. You are God having a human experience. And these things know that, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to get on your feet, because if you get on your feet, you could actually win, and that would end their portion of the battle and their portion of this game or experiment that they're running, because ultimately they can't sustain themselves without killing or oppressing you, okay? That's the way this is going. And so every time you figure it out, some shit's going to happen to you, okay? Every time I want to get up, next thing you know, somebody comes at me. And it's not the physical person coming at me. It is the powers that be sending someone at me. You get what I'm saying?
That's the Mr. Smith, though.
And it is acting through these people, okay?
Right.
But it is not these people, okay? It is just, it's acting through these people. And that is why it is so difficult when you go against the grain, when you try to keep your morality, because keeping your morality preserves your soul. It preserves your integrity. And, you know, I even had one guy got sent at me. He started some shit, and, like, it was going to, like, I'm like, you know, is it going to be fucking on with this guy? You know, is it going to be, you know, am I going to have it out, you know, fist to fist with this person? And it turns out, you know, he was just sent to distract me and send me down the dark road of revenge. Okay? That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to get me to go down the dark road of revenge. but I didn't take the bait because you know what happened, though? You know what's strange, though? Is that an apparition 6 months earlier came to me with his face on it. And so when he pulled me over and started writing the ticket on some bullshit shit, I'm like, where the fuck have I seen this dude's face before? This dude's face looks kind of familiar. And I've never met this person before. And I'm like, oh, that fucking apparition. So my question is that did this guy exist before he was going to pull me over? I mean, does this guy die in the future and recognize me and decided to come back in time and check on me and see what's going on before he runs into me? Is he some evil being that took the form of a human host to start a fucking fight with me, to take me to court and put me through all this evil shit? Because everyone in that building was goddamn evil, okay? Period. You know, you try to reason with these people, they're like, no, fuck you, I'm just going to, you know, run this game on you and play with your emotions and then offer you something and yank it away and pretend like I was going to be nice. And, you know, they're into those feeding off of people's misery. You know, that's what they're into down at the courthouse. And
you're so right about that, Jack. You're so right about that. I've noticed that in my, you know, civil dealings and just, you know, just being around others who had to go and you go and just, you know, it's so evil there. Even when you're there and you're not there having a case and they see you and they stare you down and I went through that personally and people know it because I put that story out there after I was beat by the 11 cops and they put charges on me, felony charges that they later reduced, and they said that it was, you know, I beat the female officer, didn't lay a hand on anybody. Long story, I got it on a video that I can repost. I'll probably repost when I get in, and you can check it out later on. But as I was going through that, and that was in the crack era, okay? Now, I've never done anything illegal. I just happened to be driving through the wrong neighborhood, which never scared me because I knew everybody there. We're on our way to the store, but I'll post that link up. But in going there, that feeling, that overwhelming feeling of evil and the way these people looked at me. There were many other cases going on, but it was like the DA, it was this blonde woman, the way I caught her staring at me like she really wanted to lock me up forever. They reduced the charges and it was thrown out eventually. But for about 5 months, because this is New York City now, you know, and there's so many cases going on and sometimes you postpone or whatever. But, man, I just knew I didn't have a chance. And my lawyer was saying, well, hey, listen, the way you can articulate and get up there and understand in comparison to a lot of the real illiterate thugs up there, you can do right, you know. But if you lose, and this is when they were felony charges, you'll get an automatic 1.5 years. I'm like, I didn't do anything to this lady. They beat me up, you know, chokeholded me, squeezed my nuts off, pulled my fingers back and had me in a chokehold. And they put those charges on me. So after the whole thing, it was coming to an end, but it was so exhausting because I was also going through a lot. My father was sick and eventually passed away. But, you know, it was like, how could people live like this? And I mean the people who were in the court, some of the judges, the DAs, and the other attorneys, I'm observing this, and you can cut the evil with a butter knife. I'm telling you, man. It was so evil, and across the board, I've noticed that. So where do these people go? And my thing is, when we mention the word Luciferian, to me, that is a system that's based on that. And all of us who are in tune as spiritual beings, we will feel that. And we've got to go back to feeling. And I'm not saying imagining things, but we've lived life long enough. We have the sensitivities, and we know what is. Just like when we see wonderful people who are nice and they're kind to their soul, deep down to the bone. When you meet these evil people, you know. But what I'm saying, what am I asking, just like Jack did, where do they go? Do they disappear? You know, when they're out of sight, is it their purpose just to be evil? Where do they come from like this? I mean, don't they know what they've become, or are they just straight up Luciferians that you just can't deny it. They're into something so deeply evil in the system to just jack up our lives and feed off of our misery. And they watch you. You're there, and they're handing out a sentence, and they're staring at you, and they still look at you like they don't like you. And it was me, innocent at the time, and I'm still innocent, to that whole kind of scene. And I see how they go on, and that's the place I just don't want to go. Even when you go for something, and that's not threatening, a ticket or something like that, and you walk through those halls, and you go through the metal detectors, and they check your bags, and you feel this thing come over you, and the night before you go, you're like, I don't want to go. Even the other day when I went to jury duty, which I'm so surprised that they had me there for jury duty. They never did that before. I guess, they check you out and know what you're about. Even when I was there, it was like a control thing, and you see how they are, and they want to have you sit there, and nah, man, it's something more to that with the whole judicial system. Sorry to dominate, but continue on, y'all.
So, they sit there and they mouth off to you, and what you have to understand, and this is why I disagree with you, Heidi, is that you can fight them back. But the difference is that they want to kill you while you're in the cradle, okay? That is the goal for them, because ultimately the secret is that although good people, your reasoning is not going to get through to them, okay? Although we are decent people, although you haven't given in and you try to keep your morality, you are punished for that because they don't want you to tap into your power, tap into who you really are. And so you get all these obstacles thrown at you. And this is why I want to ask Sophia Stewart, if we ever have one day, sometime later, is who is Agent Smith? Okay, because Agent Smith, like I said, the dude who started shit with me, I saw his face 6 months in advance, okay, of meeting him.
I promise you, Jack. I'm gonna get her on, Jack. I promise you within 2 weeks, because she's really busy. But I promise you, I'm gonna reach out to her and get her on so you can talk to her personally, and have everybody here talk to her personally. I promise. Well, okay, but the deeper I go, the more I realize that this is not a game of black and white. It's not a game about racism. It's a game about forces of the universe that are colliding and clashing with each other. And you have the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. Okay? And the secret about the dark is that it has to be parasitic. Okay? It cannot. Dark energy, from what I noticed, is that it's energy that cannot preserve itself, whereas light energy, it is balanced and wholesome, and therefore it can sustain itself and preserve itself. So light is associated with healing, while dark is associated with destruction, and violence, murder, torture, rape. All of these things require a victim, okay? Being parasitic in nature, that's what the dark side is, whereas the light side is associated with healing, strengthening, preserving, sharing, because, you have abundance, whereas darkness is associated with misery, fear, anger, rage, and things of that nature. So you have to understand there's a spectrum here that is going on, okay? And they don't want you to rise because in order for them to exist, they have to feed on you. And the difference is that some people, they won't ever face this, and they'll fall victim to them. But the only difference between me, us, and everybody else in the world is that we're facing it now, and we're not waiting until we die to face these realities. We're not just going to let death carry us off
and, you know, whatever is whatever when you get to the other side. No, you have to take care of this now. You have to strengthen yourself now, okay? Or else you're going to find out when you get to that abyss, when we all have to face it alone, is that the abyss and environment of space is unforgiving and brutal. There are things out there that will fucking tear you up, and I mean, I've experienced part of these things, but you have to understand, I've seen some heartless shit go down. I've seen some brutal shit go down. I mean, there are things out there that'll split you open and fucking act like it's a joyous occasion to cut you down the middle and drink up. I don't fucking know how to describe it. There are horrific things out there that take joy.
No, keep it going. Keep talking, man. Your words will resonate, man. You're speaking truth.
There are horrific things out there that take joy in doing horrific things. And you can wait till it's too late, or you can get your courage and face it now. Because the bottom line is you're going to have to address it regardless, because you can't ignore it. If you ignore it, what happens is when you don't oppose darkness, darkness runs rampant. And that's how you have the situation we have today, is you ignore it and they run rampant. You don't fight back, and they end up taking over and winning the whole war. They end up winning the war. Well, I don't really like calling it a game, because it's far from a fucking game. Okay, your life's on the line here. Okay, but you have to prepare yourself, and you have to face your fears. You have to face things that you may not want to do. I mean, sometimes, you know, the reason I do some of the things I do is because apparently I'm the guy who's the trailblazer, okay? I'm the guy who innovates and gets this knowledge so I can bring it back to other people, and other people can know it's safe to head that way. Or,
Conference unlocked. Conference locked. Conference unlocked.
There's always a risk with gaining new knowledge, going new places. And there's always dangers to exploration. And, you know, yeah, I could sit back in comfort, but what would be the point in that? I mean,
Jack,
my people are dying. You know, everyone is suffering. I mean, am I just going to sit here and watch this go down? Am I going to sit here and ignore it? Am I going to try to give in and side with
conference locked?
People? No. Okay? This is why you're having such a hard time. And I hope that really resonates with you all. There are multiple levels to this. And yes, even in the afterlife, you may have some challenges, depending on your belief. Or you can go to one of the good places and you can chill out there. And you'll be a happy motherfucker, okay? You'll be a happy motherfucker, you know, singing and dancing and doing all that shit. But the thing is that the darkness is still on the move. You have to understand that. And I don't know if anything would happen, or if you would just, you know, stay there for. I don't exactly know. I can't pretend that I have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. Who knows? Because those higher levels are levels beyond our understanding, and that's what you have to understand. That's what you have to understand, is that you can't understand some things in this human body and this human mind, okay? Those higher levels, there are things going on that are beyond our understanding and that you won't understand until you reach the higher levels. But you have the lower levels trying to come up and dominate the level above them, or keep you down so that they can exist, so that they can feed their existence off of you. And I don't really know if I should be calling it the lower levels, but rather the darkness. And that's really why you're having such a hard time. It's a deeper and longer game than you think. And if you actually got up, you would be a power player. In fact, if you are conscious, some say that you were sent back and that you're resurrecting to get involved in this fight in a certain way, and that you were great in a previous life and you came back, and you may have came back to do something wonderful, to face these challenges. And, the ancestors and, gods, deities, or whatever sent you to take care of the problem or created you to take the problem. And you are a child of those great beings. So, yeah, it goes a lot deeper than you think. And that is why you're having such a hard time.
Are you done, Jack?
Yes, I'm done.
Brilliant words, Jack. I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's why I truly appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate everybody who's on, but when you can break it down that way, that's not just something that you read from a book. That's experience, and that's just truth across the board. I definitely want to really showcase you more because, we've had private conversations and you shared a lot, and a lot of folks just don't understand your experience and your brilliance. And I just want that out there more, man, because you have a lot to share, just like everybody else here does. But go ahead, Heidi. Sorry.
No. I was just asking him because it's like as though I feel like sometimes when we're talking, we're literally saying the same thing, but in a different way. But we're talking about the same concept. Like it's hard to try to tell that to people every day, that there's no way of just fighting this, just like, okay, I'm going to go on the religious level, or I'm going to read a Bible and talk to Jesus. Like, that is not going to help you.
This is what I was talking about when I said the other day, I said, everybody's talking about World War III, North Korea, Iran, all this. That's all a smokescreen, and that's a distraction. We are already at war, okay? And the war is them, this evil entity, against us. And, by making us think the big threat is some other nation, that's just a distraction. The war is not on a 3D level. And this is what I was talking about the other day when I said that the war is not on a 3D level, and it's basically a good versus evil on a whole different dimensional level.
And what I wanted to say was when Jack said I was not saying that you couldn't fight these things. I'm saying on a physical level, you cannot fight these things, because that's why I use the term the wind and a person. You can't fight something you can't see. You cannot fight something when you are not in the right form to go against it. So it doesn't matter on a physical level.
Because it's not a physical war. This is a war on souls.
Yeah, well, I could have sworn I think I told Lance that when the Pope came here, when he came to the United Nations and said the thing about that souls are more important than finances, and it's like as though everybody just let that go in one ear and come out the other, like they didn't hear that.
Do you know why he came here?
He came here to make sure. I know part of it was to make sure that the Catholic Church was still doing what they had to do, and some of the other stuff behind that. But yeah.
Well, see, the Vatican is the most powerful organization on the planet.
Of course.
And
I grew up in the Catholic Church. I know.
The reason for that visit, which was September 25th, 2015, at the UN General Assembly in New York, was to officially sign in the UN Sustainable Development, which is basically an add-on to Agenda 21. And it's basically New World Order. And like the 17 points of the 40-chapter UN Sustainable Development, it all sounds like a really good idea. But when you start looking behind those 17 points, you can see where it's really like it's a communism on steroids. That's what the Pope came here to officially sign in.
Yes. That's the main reason why he came here.
Yeah.
But like in addition to that, I mean, people are not understanding. Like, you look at all these so-called religions out here. You look at all these political and all this whatever. And any time a decision has to be made, they always go to these people. But none of these people live in anywhere else but their own. They don't, they interact and they do all these other things, but they don't leave their comfort zone unless it's going to benefit them. And a lot of us are not understanding that.
All these religions, and they're all created from the same originating source, and that's why there's so many similarities within them. But what they are all meant, the reason for them, is to have people chasing their tails, searching for something, which is, searching for that spiritual connection, that connection with the divine, which they're not going to find chasing their tail through these systems of indoctrination, because they were born with that natural born connection, and that natural born connection gets turned off as you start going through teachings, through educational systems, religious teachings within the family, cultural teachings, social teachings. This gets turned off, that connection gets lost, and then they can keep you running and searching for it where you're never going to find it. You're not going to find it through the man with the silly hat. They do not want you to discover what you have within you, how powerful your consciousness is, and how you already have that connection. All you got to do is turn it back on. They do not want you discovering that. So that's what these organized systems are designed to do, to keep you running in the opposite direction and chasing after something that's going to take you away from finding that.
Well, like growing up in the Catholic Church, you learn this, and you're not supposed to say this to anybody else. So it's like, the reason you go to Catholic school is to become a nun or a priest, so you can conquer souls and move on to, so you can, elevate from one thing to the next. It's not about, you're going to, all these private schools and all these private entities, I'm going to send my child to this private school because the public system, and it's like, they're doing the same thing. They're just using a different concept. Nothing has changed. And that's why I said rich people are no different. They're not getting excused from any of this. Everybody's in the same pot, and everybody has to be confused on the level that they are at. You can't take a person who has a lavish lifestyle and tell them, I'm going to give you food stamps and free medical health care. They're going to look at you like you're stupid. So there's no concept of trying to benefit anybody. The Bible, all these things, it's like today, I mean, I lost my wallet today. I think it was between last night or this morning. For some strange reason, my wallet just magically disappeared in my own place where I'm living at. But it's like, I feel like as though anytime something happens, there's a reason behind it. And I'll figure it out later whatever it is, but it's annoying when you get so frustrated that you can't fix it, because there's no way to fix it the way it is now. I don't know.
Right.
It's just like I have a headache right now, but I feel like I have a headache because my mind is running 100 miles an hour because of so many things, both physical and spiritual. It's just like I feel like as though I'm just like I'm in a cage and my hands are tied and I can't move. But I don't know.
That's what these negative forces want you to feel. Yes, you're aware. Everybody on this line, whether they're talking or not, is aware more than a common person. So you see these things and you see them so clear, and especially with your experience in the military, you see these things so clear, and it's so frustrating when you see the world not see it, but you see it. So we're not going to save everybody. I'm not trying to say that you're looking to save people, but it's just so frustrating to see how the world has regressed, and they take joy in that. So it's a healthy thing that you feel that way, because look at the people who are not feeling that way, that are enjoying the ignorance and the bliss of ignorance. It's not bliss to me, but it's bliss to them. It's like a diabetic dipping a scoop of sugar and eating it. Yeah, it tastes good, but you're killing yourself. So this is what's going to happen. That's the byproduct of being in this world, because there is so much to be done, and we have to help each other. And like Jack said, the negative dark energy thrives off of anger and fear and frustration, and they want to keep it going because they cannot produce. I mean, I knew that, but he said it in a way where I absorb more of it now, so I see it even clearer. So that's the goal. So that's why we have to turn to each other and be there for each other, even though we're in different states, and people who hear this in the future who may not know us, but they'll know us because they heard this, that we've got to come together no matter what the race, the age, the place, whatever, you know, when we do have our individual walks, and I speak a certain way on a lot of things, but I'm seeing broader, and I thank everybody for helping to broaden me, and that's what we have to do right now, you see, because the time is near. Whatever that means, you know, it's getting close. Look, whatever's going to go down, we're getting closer to it, but it's not a matter of being in fear, but let's join hands together and fight this thing together wherever it may be. And some of us will get taken out on certain levels, but we got to keep on swinging. You keep on swinging with purpose. You stay in the fight. You nurture yourself. You stay grounded and connected. We'll win because we have the positive energy. That's what they don't have. They cannot regenerate, like Jack said. We got the light. We got the love. We got the positive energy. We have a never-ending source. When their power goes out, it's nothing. So don't succumb to that. Just seek the light, seek the love, reach out to any one of us. And I feel frustrated too. I mean, I had a heck of a weekend. Nothing bad happened per se, one time or two times, but it was just frustration across the board. I said, hey, what is this all about? It means you're getting closer to something good. Because if you're not attacked, that means you're not doing anything.
Yeah, and I believe that.
And that's why they manufacture.
I feel like as though the more, I think I said that before, the more that you open up and you start realizing, like, it's not a person that you're, that's why I keep saying that every time we talk. This thing it's feeding off the flesh because it needs to get to the soul. So it's like what's outside is not important, but what's inside of it is it's what's going to give it what it needs. And it's like, I'm not going to let you feed off of me because you're hungry. feed off of something that likes the crap that you give it. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, my physical sense is hurting, but my spiritual sense is understandable that I am not going to satisfy whatever appetite that you're looking for. So it's like every time I want something, every time something that, we've been going through a lot of stuff here, and it's just, I just wonder sometimes, like, I think I told you that before, Lance, like sometimes I feel like I need to walk myself to a mental ward and swallow whatever pills they're giving, because it's like, I feel like I'm breaking in pieces. But there's a part of me that refuses to even allow that. And it's hard, but it's like, I don't know what to do sometimes.
Well, understand that, look at childbirth. Childbirth is not an easy thing. It can be a very painful experience and something that, you'll never forget. I mean, I'm a man and I don't know, but, it's you're becoming the new you, see? And just like with childbirth, when you physically bear a child and they're born into the world, when that child is in the mother's arms, when she feels that love, for those who feel that love, because not all feel it, but she'll go through it 10 times over, with 10 times the amount of pain. She'll go through anything for that child. Even when she was having the child, oh my God, I'll never do this again, or whatever have you. And when she's holding that baby in her arms, she says, you know what? I'll go through anything for you. See? So there's a new you being born, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. We're not here on this earth in this level and form for long at all. This is just a quick pit stop to eternity. And once you realize that something else is coming out of this, we're being tested and we're being, deemed as worthy by how we deal with the experiences that we go through. And remember, we are the sperm that won out. Out of all the millions of sperms, we won out. And now we don't have a tail anymore, but we have a head. We have a mind. We have thoughts. And now it's not an egg anymore that we're aiming for. It's a level of spirituality and divinity that we're aiming for. And the world is very treacherous. And just like that hostile environment of the vagina, right? To the sperm, it can be. You see, we have to swim upstream to get the righteousness. We have the anger, the hate, the lust, all these things that, back in the day, somebody would pick on me and I'd punch them in the face and knock them out. That felt pretty good, right? But we can't, in my immaturity, it felt good. But no, now it doesn't. Men will lust after women just uncontrollably, but they don't understand what's feeding off of them when they go and cheat on their wife, or when they go and they're watching porn and playing with themselves, the amount of demons that are hanging around feeding off of that. We got to come to a certain level to understand that. But you're being born again. See, they say being born again, but people think it's just making a vow and jumping around and that's it, and going back to the same old ways and being forgiven 50 million times.
Getting thrown into a thing of water.
But yeah, you're going through these changes for a reason, because, and you know what? You won't regret what you had to go through to get to that level of awareness and spirituality.
You know what? And not to go off topic, but it's like, I notice when I'm not around, like when I go to the beach, I feel like everything that has ever, like the ocean for me is like my healing place. And then the minute I'm not around that, it's like as though, like if I go to the beach and I'm good, I'm good for like at least a good month. Then after that, it's like I'm not getting that same vibe. And it's like I feel like I'm walking on, like as though I'm walking through a what do they call it? Like a house of horrors or something. And it's like the further away I go, and it's sickening sometimes. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Where do you go when you when you have no answer, or you have an answer but you have no you don't have that group. Not to say you don't, like the way we are now. Like you don't have that support system because you can't just go and talk to everybody. Like I said before, when we having these conversations on this phone, it makes you feel a certain way, and then when you're not getting this on a regular basis, and I'm not saying for you to be having your show change or whatever, but it's like as though when you're not getting that same group or those same spirits around you that have the same power and strength, it's like everything around you is just cracking like eggs, man.
The reason why, Heidi, what you're feeling, Heidi, is because your inner eye is activated. And so you are on a level of awakening to where you literally see things with that inner eye, and you see things that other people around you can't see. And to you feel frustrated, like, why can't anybody else see this? And when you're walking amongst them and they can't see what you can so clearly see right through, it's frustrating, and it feels lonely, and it feels like you are on the outside looking in.
Yeah, it feels like that a lot. And it's just like, I was having, I won't say demonic things, but I've had my issues where, I think I said that when we moved into this apartment, I had to basically yell and scream at certain things to get out of here, because this place we've lived in, this apartment complex, so much bad stuff has happened to this place. If you see, like, every day at 5 o'clock, it's a big shadow around here because their birds are flocking so deep around here. It's like they block the sun out. Like, that is not normal. And then everybody around is like, oh, it's just the birds at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, this is not normal. Or dead birds, just, like certain things that go on here in the apartment complex. I'm like, the way some of these children behave or some of these people. And I'm like, there's no way in the world it's drugs or whatever it is. It's to me, like, when there's enough evil around, the things that are good can't really push through that. Like, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like I'm fighting myself and I'm trying to fight other things around it.
You got to escape to the goodness within. You got to stock up on your goodness. I don't know how to say it right. When I'm out there driving the bus, I have people that I do not even know that lock eyes with me for a moment, a second, and automatically I know they're going to try me. I know they have a deep-rooted hate for me. They don't know me, but they see something in me. And like I always try to say to a lot of people that, we speak about spirituality and we speak about moving on a spiritual level, whether people say Holy Spirit or third eye, whatever it may be, it's the same thing. But we forget that evil operates on the same, not all of our frequencies, but many of our frequencies. They can tune into what we are, and when they see us, they know exactly what we are. They may not know the specifics, but they see our goodness, and they want to come at you and flare their wings and appear to be something that you can't surmount. You got to go within to the goodness within, and this is why we have to meditate and sharpen our swords. And like you said about the beach, or for me, it's the beach, and it's out in the woods. I want to live out in the woods. You know what I mean? I'll chop a few trees down and have a little place, but I want to live out in the woods and be able to go to the beach every day if I please, because just like Lisa Renee shares the whole thing about grounding and connecting, that's the ultimate. You're right on the edge of the water, which the water is cleansing, and it's 75% of. So there, to me, when you put your feet, whether you put it in the actual water or not, but you're on the edge of all of that cleansing water and life that's below the sea, that's better to me than being in a crowded city and a smoke-filled club with people who are confused, who are trying to have all their weird idiosyncrasies, and the frequencies are just jammed, and my personal radio, my mind, my antennas are confused. So you got to get away, but you got to save up the goodness inside of you. See, like a storehouse. and retreat into that when you don't have the external, when your power lines are cut. At least now, if the house goes out, if the power goes out in the house and you've been charging your cell phone up and it's at 100%, until the power goes on, you still have your own power that you can draw from spiritually.
Yeah, because I feel like right now, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells made out of broken glass. You know,
you got to recharge. You got to recharge.
It's like that stress of the physical form of worrying and thinking about 100 different things going on. And it's like, where do I stop?
Heidi, this also, what really does play a part into this, what they don't want you to know, is that Rh negative blood that you have, because that's more of an electrical blood. It's more sensitive to energies. And like I was saying, that's where a lot of people get, the concept of it's gifted from. And you are affected more so by all the low vibrational shit and the low vibrational entities that affects you more than it would the majority of people, because the Rh negative blood, what they say, which may, I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but globally is only 15% of the planet. In the United States, only 7% of us. Okay, so you are surrounded by a majority that are not as sensitive as you, so you're going to feel those things more, which plays into part of your inner eye and you being able to see things and read things that other people can't. Other people are just moving right along, going through the process. It's normal, and you're able to sense something they're not. It's a gift. Learn how to work it. It's a gift.
I have a quick question. Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Okay. No, because I was saying, I know a lot of, I don't want to say, because I was looking at a documentary about a lot of the, like, left-handed people and all these different things, and it's like as though it's starting to make some kind of sense that
I do use my left hand. I use my left hand, as much as I use my right hand. About the only thing
so you're
I can't really do.
Well,
the only thing I really can't do is like write or do anything like this with my left hand. But I'm gonna tell you why I've got to where I use my left hand just as much, because your left hand is your receiving hand. I'm talking about like as far as energy. Your left hand is your receiving hand. Your right hand is the hand that you extend energy from. So like when I work with energy healing, and on myself included, and I use different rocks and things that I use to absorb their energy, I will use my left hand. I can feel the vibration of things more with my left hand. Read things with. And so people who are left-handed are generally higher intelligence, because they use their left hand for mostly everything, and that left hand is the receiver of energy, where they can, I don't know how to explain it, but so you know what I'm getting at.
Lisa, let me just, it's not a question, it's just a statement about me. When I was starting to write as a young child and play around with the pencil, I was using my left hand exclusively. And my father, thinking that, the world is not cut out for left-handed people, he'd smack, not beat me down, but he'd smack my hand. Use the other hand, use the other hand, use the other hand. So I started to use the other hand, and as you well know, I'm pretty good with some sketching and drawing and stuff like that. But the funny thing, I'm still supposed to be a person who uses my left hand. And it's something that was so normal for me that I never realized that I do, but here it is. When I write with my right hand, right, I write backwards, upside down, but it comes out perfect. And I never noticed that. People who say, oh, my God, you're writing backwards. You're right, not backwards from the end of the sentence back to the front, but it's just I'm writing like a left-hand person through my right hand. Isn't that something? I'm going to do that on the video and show it, and I'm not putting on. I'm just writing normal, and it's normal for me. So I'm crossed up, I guess, in a way, because my signals are still firing to come out of my left hand, but
there's something behind why we are indoctrinated to a certain extent to use our right hand. Like scissors. Tip scissors are and other tools and things will be typically made for right-handed people. There's whole cultures and one of the major Abrahamic religions will teach the children from very young to not use their left hand. The left hand is supposed to be dirty. That's supposed to be what you wipe your ass with, and that's the hand of the devil, they say. And the right hand is supposed to be your righteous hand that you eat with. Could it just be that the root of it is they don't want us to discover the sensitivities associated with the receiving energy of the left hand?
Is that why there's only a certain percentage of left-handed people on the planet, in so many words?
It could be, and I know many families, part of these cultures and these religions, who I've been right there. I've watched it a million times, where their children will be sitting in a high chair, 1 or 2 years old, and will try to eat with the left hand, and they tap the left hand, no, and then they will literally take the food and put it in the baby's right hand, to try to. I actually, about 10 years ago, I had a job short-term babysitting some kids, and the mother specifically told me that you have to watch him when he eats. If he picks the food up with the left hand, to put it in the right hand, because they were trying to teach him. This is a religious thing with them, religious and cultural. But you got to wonder, where does this indoctrination start? What is the root of it?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lot of things. I noticed that they say the you have so many. The world is 90% right, and
it's part of that keeping us chasing our tail in the opposite direction, so we don't find it, right?
Yeah, but it's like left-handed people every time. Because you get a lot of people that say certain things. Like, I think when I was writing something, and this is so bad, like, since they supposedly got rid of script out of school, you can't write a script anymore. You have to print everything. It's hell on wheels for me to print. I'm so used to writing in script that when I try to print something, I swear to you, I feel like as though I'm going to break the pen or the pencil that I'm writing with. Like, you just wonder, like, why, like, we drive on, what are we, on the left side we drive on, or the right side? What is it here in the U.S.? We drive on the left side or the right side of the road here?
Well, we
right
sit
side.
on the we sit on the left side, but we drive on typically towards the right side of the road.
That's crazy, right? It's like the world is supposed to be left, but everything is going right when right is wrong. I guess. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It's like I always say, everything you've ever been told is a fucking lie. Anything you've ever been told, consider that it's somehow backwards.
Yeah, because I think they say the right part of your brain is where you analyze and all this. No, wait. The left side of your brain is your creativity side, and your right side is the analytical and all that. But I'm like, how can that be if somebody? So it's like, but they're saying like the left side controls your right and your right controls your left in the brain. But I'm like, how?
Well, the thing is, we need a balance. We need a balance of both sides. Okay, well, if they can shut off our creativity and our individualism and our imagination, with not just giving us the drugs, but feeding us the drugs that this food is as well, and just get us to depend on our right side, which is basically the side that's going to take in the textbook information, the logical, analytical side, like you said, and not have that balance. Because we need to be in perfect harmony. We need to have that right-left balance of both of them.
The yin and the yang, right? The Chinese thing, or is that Chinese?
Yeah. It's what it's all about: balance, negative, positive, left, right. Balance. Everything's got to be in a balance. And if they can throw us out of that balance, and particularly keep us from having any kind of imagination, having any kind of familiarity with the concept of energy, which we are and everything else is, and just get us to depend on our right side, we can be indoctrinated. It goes right back to that. They can keep us chasing our tail in the wrong direction, looking for it through the man with the silly hat, instead of finding what we already have, what we were already born with.
I think that's the way of killing. That's why I said the whatever those things are, or whatever they, those entities that are like that. I think when you learn to conquer your fear, or you learn to basically, I think what it is like when evil realizes that you have an idea, not an idea, but when you realize that there's ways to control there's ways to fight it back. To me, it's like it takes human form to kind of like bring you down to your knees, so that that your spiritual self doesn't continue to fight it. And it's like fear, anything that makes you nervous or fearful, it's like that's not, you have to learn that, your imagination, your mind is not something that's you can't see the human mind. Like we always say, you hear scientists and people say, well, your mind is this, but you can't see the mind. You can see everything about a person, but you can't see what their thoughts are. Or
that's why all these systems are based on the fear-based rules, and it's the organized religion, the social norms that we're taught, the cultural norms that we're taught, the educational system, the legal system, the court system. Okay, we're following the rules because we're in fear of the consequence if we don't. They're fear-based. They're low vibrational. These are systems of control.
And then the minute you start going against the fact that you're not going to be afraid, then it's like the hamster on the wheel. It just keeps. It's like,
and that
evil will never be satisfied. No matter what, evil is not even satisfied with itself, so it has to continue to keep it going.
And see that right there, when you start to realize that, like you said, excuse me, that is unstoppable. Okay, that is stronger than any of these entities behind these fear-based systems, and they know that, and that's why they don't want you to reach a level of discovering that. And when you start to eliminate participating in all these systems, including the political system and all this garbage, the clock, all of it. When you start eliminating that from your life, what you do is you actually start establishing your own freedom, a real freedom, not the manufactured freedom they've allowed you to believe that you have. Okay, and there's no shutting that off. It's more powerful than any of these entities, and they know that, and that's why they want to keep you from finding it.
Yeah, because I was looking at them. I was listening to this thing about, like, you know, horror movies and those things, and it's like they're all based off of the same thing, you know. It's like there's a reason to make you fear something. Like, they have to keep you afraid. And that's
because that's how they keep you obedient. That's how they keep you obedient.
Right. And it's like when I have people who tell me, well, horror movies, I have people, I know a couple of people, they watch horror movies and they're like, it doesn't affect me, this and this. And I'm like, you have no idea what is going on. Maybe you're not, people say, well, everybody's afraid of something. And I'm like, you shouldn't be afraid of anything, because fear is what will destroy you, even though you're not, like, to me, I try to tell people, don't watch horror movies, don't entertain these things, because you have no idea what you're bringing into your home, into your spirit, into your, it's like these things, when you watch any type of horror movie, it's just, there is more to what the theatrical crap that's going on, like, you got somebody running around with a chainsaw, or you got somebody playing with this Ouija board business. Now I went on the phone today, and I seen that they said that the sales of these things have gone up by 300%. And I'm like, how can people not understand it? This is not something to play with.
Do you know what it actually is that makes a Ouija board move and give answers? Now, what it is, and I've never in my life used a Ouija board. I do not participate in any of that occult-associated nonsense. I, however, can do the same thing with just my own body laying here, and asking my consciousness questions, and my arms will elevate depending on a negative or a positive energetic response. And with the Ouija board, that's actually what they're getting, is they're getting an energetic response that where it will be negative or positive. And probably there are some entities involved in making that happen. No doubt. I have no interest in finding out. But you can actually make your own energy and your consciousness do the same thing, and you can talk to your higher consciousness, and you can stimulate energy responses and kind of get some answers. You ask certain questions about yourself that there may be things you're searching for answers for in your growth or whatever it might be. And you can, or say it's the same thing, you can even test the energy of certain foods, or if you want to know if a vitamin or a supplement is good for you or bad for you, you can test the energy against yourself, and you can read the negative or the positive response.
It's so funny right now, and I'm not even trying to, not funny. I look out my window, and there's a black cat sitting on my porch, staring dead at me in my face right now. This shit is hilarious. This cat is always over here.
Cats are interesting because cats are interdimensional. Do you know that? Cats are interdimensional beings. They do not just live and see in our 3D dimension, but they see beyond that. They might sometimes, you might see the cat staring off in another direction, like it's making eye contact with somebody, but you don't see nobody there. However, if somebody is there, and the cat from another dimension, and the cat can see them.
Yeah, because like this cat, when I tell you, this cat is always. This is the first time it's ever been on our patio. It normally just, when it sees us, but it doesn't come near us, and it's like all of a sudden now. I said, let me just look out the window, and I'm like, this thing is like, and it keeps looking at whatever. I don't know what the hell it's looking at. It keeps looking at my patio. It keeps looking over here at my window. I'm like, tonight of all nights, right? This is not normal. But I'm like, I don't need the cat to tell me something to do. I can tell it, and I just can't see it. Maybe the cat can see it, but I can't see it right now.
Yeah, the cat can see things that we cannot see.
And I'm like, this is not. I was like, let me just look out the window, because I always look outside, and I'm like, this is weird a little bit.
But let me point something out. Do you notice how the cat is not scared of what it sees? It just continues to just sit there and stare at it or do whatever it does. Maybe it has telepathic communication with it. But do you notice how the cat is not scared or frightened by it? Because it would run off.
No, because it's over there. Is there chewing on its tail right now?
Yeah, see, that's how we should be, because see, the cat knows. The cat knows it's stronger than whatever, whether it be, if it's an evil force or something, the cat knows. It's that it can't hurt the cat unless the cat submits to it in fear, and the cat is not afraid.
How ironic, right? Talking about a Ouija board, and then there's a cat on my patio. That's hilarious right now. I'm tired and I have a headache. I need to go to bed. But this has been a very, 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 very interesting conversation. And I want to get more into it. Whatever it's looking at, obviously it keeps staring at it for like a couple of seconds here, a couple of seconds there. And it's not moving from where it's been at. It's been up there for like a good minute now. I think the reason I actually went to the window, because I saw something moving. I thought it was a person out here, and there's the cat.
Oh. Sometimes you can get a glimpse of other dimensional beings, and you will like see them from like your side out of focus vision. That's like typically, have you ever felt like you've seen somebody out of the side of your vision, and it startles you, and you look and there's nothing there?
Yeah.
That's
yes,
what's happening.
I go through that on a. Listen, before I get off the phone, I'm gonna tell you this. I was going to school, my last day of school. This is before, well, not my last day, but our finals week, and going to class 6:30 in the morning, because my class is early. And I'm walking past the church that I used to go to, and there's these things standing there that look like people, but their face are like lizards or whatever. So I decided that Sunday morning, when I were able to talk to the pastor, and I told him what was going on, this man told me that I need to. I don't know if I wanted to punch him in the face or whatever, but he basically told me, oh, you need to go pray about whatever you saw. And I'm like, this thing is in your building, or outside of your building, and you're asking me to go pray about it. You're the pastor. Like, what do you say to people like that when they tell you this kind of shit?
You know what? I can't. I can't. That's when I have to walk away, because I can't tolerate it, and if I do say anything, it's probably going to be something very, very sarcastic and end up being insulting, and it's, that's just the way it's going to come out. But I wanted to add about these interdimensional beings that you might, see through your side focus, or not even see them. Sometimes you don't see anything, but you can feel something. Now, it's not always bad. There are good beings sharing this universe with us.
Of course, I can tell the good ones from the bad ones, because
yes, you can tell when
it's like I can feel all the hair on my arm standing up.
The bad ones typically they'll either feel like a heavy depression. You'll just feel like that heavy depression, that stressfulness.
Yeah, like somebody sitting on you or something.
Right, or you could feel that creepy, paranoid feeling, like you feel like somebody's watching you. That's typically something negative that you don't want in your space. But you can the good ones feel completely opposite of that.
Yeah, and I since I've lived here, and I've been going through this since I was a child, but since I've been here in this place, I've even told my husband this, like, it's like a lot of times these things, they'll be in the house when both of us are here, but they're going to make sure I see it, whatever it is. When I tell my husband, he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, like I walk into our living room sometimes, or our dining room, and it's like, it feels like as though there's people in here. You know what I'm saying? And it's not me that they're coming behind or something, but it's like they lived here before, or people who are doing things, or like as though this, like they know they know you see them, even though you don't, like you're physically telling yourself that this is not there, but you can, like, to me, I can see them depending on what's going on with me. Like right now I have a serious headache, so it's like my vibes are all off right now. I'm just tired. But I can feel a lot of things. I can see the shapeshifter. I can see, I've gone down that road 10 times. So, but
the key to being stronger than it is to always remember you are stronger than it, and it cannot do anything to you that you do not allow it to do. It cannot hurt you unless you allow it to.
Of course not. The only thing that gets me is like they always seem to wait till you fall asleep. That's when it's like, why, if you're so bad, why you just can't come out in the daylight and be bad? Why you have to wait till my body is relaxed and my mind is and then come and do what you're doing?
Do you know that's why nobody should ever have a mirror in their bedroom? That's that's another backwards thing that's become a social norm. And you buy a bedroom set, it's gonna have a mirror on the dresser. I mean, everybody has a dresser with a mirror on it, right? That's just normal what you do. And you should never have mirrors in your bedroom where you sleep, because whatever negativity that is going on in that environment while you're sleeping and unaware of it and unable to manipulate it, it actually reflects and magnifies with that mirror. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, yep. It like multiplies it. Now, but when you're awake and conscious, and you have a chance against, getting rid of any negativity as soon as you feel it. But when you're sleeping, you might not. And if you have mirrors in your bedroom, it reflects off of that.
Yeah, I have one in my bedroom, but it's like next to my laundry basket. But
it doesn't even have to be about evil entities. I'm talking any kind of low vibrational energy. Like if you got a lot of low vibrational energy running through your home due to like technology, devices, phones and things like that, that gets captured in the mirror, the reflection of it, and it vibrates back. It's double, it like multiplies as it reflects back.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's just, that's why I say I believe like a lot of people that are in those mental wards in those places, they're not crazy. You may have there's a reason why these people are in these locations.
Yes, most of them are targeted individuals. They're either in trauma-based research programs, whether they were born into them or got sucked into them through something during their lifetime, or whatever the case may be. They're whistleblowers, they're political activists. They're the kids whose parents put them in public schools, and the teacher picked up on, hey, so this kid is highly intelligent, and that's what these public schools. That's why these teachers are taught, to look for the kids that are of a high intelligence, the kids that have a creativity or individualism about themselves. These are the kids that end up with one of these manufactured mental health diagnoses, and they end up getting their head picked by indoctrinating therapists, and they put them on the drugs to shut that higher intelligence off, and they get called attention deficit disorder, bipolar. They got all these names for it, and that's what it is. There's no such thing as mental illness. Depression is an emotion. It's a normal part of life. Things happen that's going to make us feel sad or depressed, including bad health. I mean, a lot of times it's not even associated with anything that happened or anything that's wrong with the mind. It's a result of inflammation in the body, or adrenal fatigue, things like this. If your body's not physically in balance and everything running in harmony and running well, and your fatigue and your hormones aren't producing the way they're supposed to, of course you're going to be depressed, because that feels like shit. Nobody likes to be tired and out of balance. But what they call mental illness, that's all a lie. And it's like a lot of these people who are diagnosed with schizophrenia because they hear voices. So many of those people, the voices that they hear are the V2K technology, voice to skull, which is also called the voice of God weaponry. And their big test on that was the second Iraqi invasion, when the voice of God told like 40,000 Iraqi soldiers in the middle of the desert to drop their weapons and surrender. And the reason for that second Iraqi invasion was to test that and see if they could make them do it. And when that experiment was done, then they put that technology into what's called HDTV, and they gave us all the free converter boxes. Again, the free shit is never free. That HD frequency and these HDTVs, that's what that is. That's the technology it is. And they put these voices in some people's head. And then, as part of research and behavioral experiments, just, to see what will happen. And then they diagnose them as schizophrenia.
Yeah, and then they keep them medicated so they can't function out here. They can't function.
Right. Right. And not only can they not function, but now they have discredited them from being taken seriously by anybody because they've given them a mental health diagnosis.
And that's the same thing with the military or anything else. It's like they put things in you to last for a certain period of time, and then when that time is up, then you start feeling like everything is like a backwards roller coaster, and then you actually start believing that you're crazy.
Right.
And now you have society going, oh, well, people in the military, they have issues, and it's like as though the people out here don't have issues. Like, I try to tell people the general public gets screwed with more than just somebody in the military. We are programmed to kill, because that's what the whole concept is. You're being programmed to do something that is not normal. Like, killing somebody is not good, but somehow this thing enjoys that. You know, it's like
this thing called this synthetic thing that's called American culture. Okay, that's really not even a culture. It's all based on, you know, manufactured synthetics. Have you ever noticed the fascination that Americans have with killing everything? And not just people, animals, insects, plants, but even their, you know, look at all the antibacterial stuff. Okay. We're basically essentially killing ourselves, because for every cell that we are made up of 10,000 strains of bacteria per cell. And, you know, everybody's always trying to kill the bacteria, kill this, kill that, kill the animals, kill the people. You know, even the entertainment they watch is always based on killing. The music based on killing. There's a fascination with killing everything, and it's normalized.
And then horror, and then that's why I'm saying, like, even these movies and these things, it's like, especially horror movies, everything is about being gore and graphic, and it's like, how can killing something be wonderful? Like, anger, I can understand. Like, when somebody's angry and all they see is red, they don't realize what their actions are. But I feel like as though anger and depression and all these things, it's like, this is how strong these things get off of it. Like people who have, you know, they kill animals and then they have the heads of them things all in their house. Like, how can you wake up every morning and see some animal that I guess somebody has killed and call that a trophy piece? Like, you could do that with a human being.
Right.
There's just so much stuff going on. It's just sad. And yeah, some days
even the things that, you know, we would look at and not even really think is important because it's so normalized to us. You know, even little things like a fly gets in the house. What's the first thing people do is try to figure out a way to kill it. Okay, they got to kill that fly that's flying around. You know, look at how people kill the weeds and stuff, which are highly medicinal, okay, that grow in their yards. They poison them and they kill them. Why? They have artificial golf course-looking lawns. It's just this need to always kill everything, and everything has a purpose. Everything serves a purpose for the eco-balance in one way or another. Everything has a job to do. We don't have to kill everything. Even the bacteria that gets on us, we don't have to kill everything.
Yeah, that's a true fact of that. But this will never stop until, how you say, good conquers over evil. Because this thing here, you know, I used to listen to my grandmother say, like, a lot of things, and I used to think that she was crazy, but, you know, after seeing some of the stuff myself, and, you know, like, you just wonder, like, do you want to, like, the reason I stopped eating meat was after I seen how, and I'm not saying that I don't eat meat, I have never eaten meat, but when you look at how these things are slaughtered and then the processing and all this, it's like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, am I supposed to eat air now? Like, you don't want to eat nothing. They putting so much crap in every damn shit. That's why I said I don't understand how you can have healthy food when the land and the is being poisoned. How can you how is that even possible? How can you really eat healthy? How can you do any of this stuff? I'm getting drowsy.
Did Lance fall asleep?
It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, man.
Check my mic.
This has been very, very interesting. I think I really enjoy the fact that Lance has this show because it's amazing what you learn and hear.
I do too, and I wanted to tell you. I sent you a text, Lance, and I don't know if you realized what I was saying, but this connection, it came around full circle. It started with you because and I already told you how I accidentally found you, thinking you were somebody else, and then through you, I met a real cool guy in your Facebook group, and then through that guy, I had met my new friend Will, who I think you talked to him recently, didn't you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, because I'm home now and I'm on the mic, and I'm going to step away again in another 2 minutes because I got some things to bring in. But I believe I did. I get so many people that reach out, and it's like the names become a blur. But I'm going to go to my text and my emails tonight, and I have to organize because there are a lot of people that contact me, and sometimes they get so lost in the fray that it takes a while for me to get back to them. But I believe so. But it's just so wonderful how this thing can work when you work it righteously. And
well, what happened was I found that I met that one friend in your group, and then the first post I had seen from him that I replied to led to me meeting this other friend, Will, and he's seen what we talked about, the video we talked about the other night about the 5G, and then he contacted you, and you see how it came back in a full circle.
Yes, it's beautiful, and it was just like something I was explaining on the way back over here to Mr. Scurv, and when you were speaking about death and everything, that death is life. And we're part of a cycle. And you know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but it's just the way that I was explaining it to her. Like when you see, because we were looking at all of the downed trees and the branches and all the stuff that they're cleaning up, because the sanitation department has it really tough right now, because not only are they picking up regular garbage, but they're picking up the stuff that the hurricane knocked down. On another footnote, you guys know that I did a live stream from the hotel at Disney while the storm was going on, and I found out from my mechanic who lives close by to me also that a tornado touched down maybe half a mile away, and it's crazy because I did not want to be around a tornado. It didn't hit my house, but all I'm saying is that when I was watching those the trees and the branches, they naturally decompose. If this was just out in the wild, and they naturally decompose and go back into the soil, and they nourish the soil for the tree that they fell off of. And it brings life and undergirds life, and it becomes part of that tree again. So really in the cycle of living, we should not really fear death. Death is part of life. And if we can't accept the whole system as the Creator made it, then we would never have life. So every aspect, sleeping is just as good as being awake, and eating is just as good as, letting it out, so it's beautiful all the way through when we learn to enjoy the full cycle. I'm just going to mute this for a second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to bring something in from the car, and I'm going to ride out with you guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, what Lance was just saying, that's why we need evil. Evil is the demarcation of the game. Like if you picture a basketball court and you have that boundary line, okay, the game is if you go over that boundary line, if you go over that mark, you lose the point. If you take that line away and there's no marker in the game, There's nothing to shoot for. There is nothing to work for. There's nothing to drive you to a heightened level. There's no game. There's nothing. So evil is necessary.
So why is it that evil? And I'm not saying that it's you have to have good and evil to balance everything out.
Right.
But sometimes I'm wondering, like, why not to say that evil doesn't attack people, but it's like as though it attacks a certain group of people, and it never stops. It's like as though first is the people you live in the house with, which is your family. Then it's the place you go to, your educational environment. Then you go to, it's like as though it's like I notice for me, every time I either get on a bus or walk into a room or something, I always get these looks, and I'm like, what is it? I'm not famous or nothing. What is it?
Well, here's the thing. They've told you that, that we're all the same. We're all equal and we're just all the same. That is not true. Some have been sent here with different particular gifts to be used for different particular higher callings. And some walking amongst us are just empty cardboard cutouts that are just really here just to, like in a movie when you have the background actors, like the people sitting around at tables in a restaurant scene or something like that. And so the people who will be most affected by the evils and by the evil attacking them will be those people that are here with some kind of higher purpose. Because they want to keep you down. They want to keep you from reaching higher purpose.
How does it feel though? Like, how do you, like, you're on, you're in a place, you're minding your business, and then all of it, like, I was with a friend of mine, and we went somewhere. And when I told you the entire place just got quiet when the two of us walked in there, and then I want to say it felt like it was like 30 minutes, but then everything kind of went back. But I was like, that was weird to me. That was kind of off. Like, these people. I'm
so sensitive. I'm so sensitive to other people's energies, whether it be good or bad, or it could even be somebody's physical pain, that I purposely live a lifestyle that does not include going to shopping malls, movie theaters, concerts, parties, even a gathering with more than a couple people. I just can't. I'm too sensitive to the energy, and I avoid it. It's not worth it to me.
Well, I don't know. It's like, I was like, even when I was in the, even when you're in the military, it just feels like as though like something just, like, like we were saying earlier, it feels like the reason you're being attacked or whatever it is, it's like you're the light and these things are dark, and now it's like, oh, you shouldn't be in here because you're throwing off whatever they're doing, and it's like,
because you are vibrating. You're vibrating to a different frequency, and others in a crowd that are not vibrating to that frequency that you are, they're gonna feel that. They're gonna feel it. It doesn't always necessarily mean they're evil. They could just be somebody that happens to be there, but they're not vibrating to that heightened frequency, and it's just kind of like a natural instinct to reject it. Maybe so. When Lance says,
I'm not saying that they're all evil. I'm just saying it's like, it's weird. Like when you walk into a place or anything, and you just get these eyes on you, like as though whatever they were doing, you've thrown their vibration off in so many words. I'm not saying it's always evil. It's like as though.
Well, you are throwing their vibration off. You are throwing their vibration off, and they may not necessarily know that, but they just know there's something about you. You're different, and not in a bad way. They just know, they feel it. They sense it.
Everything is not always evil, but it's like the things that are alike. You know, like when you watch nature shows and things like that, you'll see a group of elephants or hippos or whatever doing something, and then an alligator will come, and then you'll see you'll just see a whole group of more hippos just show up out of nowhere, and then the alligator goes in the opposite direction. It's like, yeah, I don't belong over here. But then, right. You know, it's just. Or maybe the alligator is coming because it sees a baby that considers it's weak, but it fails to understand that just because, you know, you see how animals react around their young. You know, anything that they'll trample over anything before they allow damage to take place. But I just always wondered, like, what is it? And I'm like, I wish I could see. Do I have wings somewhere that I can't see? They're flying behind me somewhere?
Well, they can sense that something's different from you. And a person that's vibrating to a higher frequency will typically, in most cases, be more of an authentic person. Will be a person, like what we were saying earlier, who can see the things that other people can't, including seeing right through people and seeing their bullshit. Seeing the people who are fake and the people that aren't. And the people who are vibrating to that lower frequency, they can sense that you can see that. And it oftentimes that will make somebody feel insecure, or it will make them feel intimidated. And they might not necessarily know why, but that's why. Because most people...
When we got on the bus last night, I know I had my wallet with my ID, my driver's license, and my stuff. And then, like, the minute I hit the thing, and then I came on, and I turned around, like, I always get these evil, like, these people be giving me these crazy faces, and I'm like, I don't even know you. Or I'm, like, talking to my husband, and I got music on or something. I'm like, what is with these people? I'm like, am I on planet X? Did I mess up somebody's date? Like, what is it?
Right.
I just wonder sometimes, like, how, you know, is whatever it is, are the vibrations of good so
it's
strong
like this.
That it just throws
Let me give you this example. It's like if you take two magnets and you know, when you try to connect them and they will like repel each other, the energy will push them apart because it's conflicting. Okay, but if you stick that magnet like to a piece of metal or something that it's conductive to, then it will attract. Well, it's kind of like that same energetic effect between you.
I'm thinking about that conversation Lance was having when he said he was at the bank with his friends and stuff. And I'm like, maybe that's why that guy kept on looking at him, because it was like, it's not the guy looking at him, it's whatever else behind it. You know, and it's like, Lance shouldn't have been there. You get what I'm saying? Right. I don't know if Lance could hear me.
I think he stepped out for a few minutes.
But I'm saying, like, I feel like that's, you know, when things like that, even with anybody who's, like, we had a guy, I think, one time come on here and said he was having issues with, he couldn't sleep because he left his TV on and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's why you can't sleep, is because whatever's coming, whatever television and radios, to me, these are things that should not be on when it's that time for your body and your mind to relax. It should be silence. Or if you do have to listen to something, it needs to be peaceful and relaxing, and whether it's the rain falling or water crashing on the ocean crashing on the sand, things like that. Like that'll keep you sleeping. But when you have commercials going on and all kinds, and you're not going to sleep. I used to live with somebody who literally slept with who had the TV on all day, all night, and it was messing with my sleep. And I'm like, I'm not even in front of the TV and I can't sleep properly. So I don't understand how some people say that they can't sleep they have to sleep with noise. I don't see how that works.
Well,
I don't
see,
know.
here's the thing: the vibration that vibrates the perfect harmony, the universal vibration, like what you hear the sound of the ocean, the sound of the crickets, the birds, rain. Okay, that is 432 hertz. Okay, that is the Earth's vibrational frequency, which is harmony. Now, it used to be that musical instruments were tuned to that same frequency, 432. Okay, this is the kind of frequency that you will hear in old church music, the old piano music, organ music, for the old church hymns, or older music like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. But what happened was the Rothschild dynasty, and I think it was in the 50s, the Rothschild dynasty changed the universal standard of music. They changed the frequency of it to, I think it's 440 hertz, which is opposite of the perfect harmony. It's low frequency, and when they changed that universal standard, that's all this crap you have now, this auto-tune, these music machines where it's not even real instruments anymore, the HD frequency in the TV, that's all this where they manipulated these frequencies, took it away from the 440 hertz is what they manipulated it to, which has the opposite of that harmony effect.
Yeah, because I feel like when you listen to nice, peaceful music, like you get this nice, calming aura compared to when you're listening to this crazy stuff. It's like your head starts to hurt.
Right. That's what it is. It's got to do with those frequencies.
How long have you been studying this stuff or been going through this stuff? Like, what was your first experience like when you realized what was going on around you?
That's a hard question to answer because, I learned very young as a child, probably before I could even formulate a sentence to explain anything. I picked up on the fact that, and I didn't understand it, but I picked up on the fact that I could see, sense, and feel things that other people can't. And I learned very fast that this can't be talked about. And, I basically shut it off. And then it was through my chronic illness, which actually the root of that was being targeted. I don't know if you've ever heard my story on that, but that was really, and stepping into my healing journey and trying to heal my body, which was completely broken and destroyed on all levels. And at the same time, trying to deal with this targeting that was tearing my life apart in every other way too. This is what it led to. This has been having to figure this out and awaken it in me, what I shut off when I was little, and being able to understand it is what has led to my survival. It's been key to my survival, and it is every day. It's become part of my lifestyle. And I wouldn't have got through any of this. I wouldn't have healed myself or anything if it had not been for understanding the energy that we are that's involved in this. And quite honestly, that's why the concept of energy is basically something that's hidden from anybody who, doesn't somehow figure it out or study it and learn it for themselves. It's not just common knowledge that we're taught to understand. And if and most people, when you talk about energy, they look at you like they don't even know what you're talking about. But it's like this. It's like this. Nikola Tesla, he said, if you want to know the key to the universe, think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And there's so much truth to that literally is the key to everything. With being familiar and understanding the energy and how to feel it, that you can pretty much read any person, place, thing, or situation, including yourself, on a holistic level of body, mind, and soul. And if too many of us are walking around doing that, okay, what would happen to these systems of control that control us? They would cease to exist. They would have no control.
I wonder how whatever it feels when, how good entities feel when, the awakenings are starting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just thinking how to answer it. A lot of times they can be part of the process, like they were with my healing. Something not of this world as we know it anyways had come into my room several times over the last 2.5 years of my healing, and literally moved my limbs for me, including my limbs that it started off with my limbs that were paralyzed on my left side. And these sessions continued on, and it wasn't anything I called on, I asked for, I looked for. It just happened, and I cannot explain to you who it was, where they're from, or why. And I kind of feel like they were there to walk me to discovering how to use that energy to heal myself, which eventually did happen. And like I was saying earlier, we were talking about the Ouija board and it's the energy responses. Well, and I lay here on my bed most nights, and I take about an hour for myself, and I just go into deep thought, and I connect with my consciousness, and I send that energy through where it needs to go, and I can just feel it healing. And I believe that that's what those healing sessions were about, to guide me into that, because I didn't know how to do that before, and it just, am I making sense?
Yep. It makes sense. I'm just saying, I always like to ask because, when everybody's experience is different. Like, I feel like certain people's experiences a little bit stronger than others because, they've gotten to the point where they can, but these things don't want. I feel like, but let me ask you, do you think that the good spirits, the only reason they're able to do things at a certain time, just like how bad spirits are, do you think it's like some kind of, like they have to be within the same realm with these things so they can help you? even though they don't have the same concept. You understand what I'm saying?
Are they in the same realm as what a negative entity would be in?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, you know, I don't know if you heard, like, when I was growing up, they used to say good and bad spirits can only come out at night, and they, you know, they can't be around things that have there's light. And I'm like, if it's good, what type of light? Is there a certain type of light that needs to be in your room while you sleep at night, or does it need to be a certain level so you can still get
for these? Okay, it goes like this. These negative entities, they vibrate to low frequencies. Now, low frequencies are what you're going to get out of the artificial synthetic crap. The negativity, everything that's negative, including just stuff that's not vibrational at all, like useless crap we have around our home. The artificial lighting. Okay, I cannot talk about that enough, and people think I'm extreme when I talk about it. But the artificial lighting that we sit in, that we keep on in our home, okay, that's low frequency. That's why it's energy efficient. It's extra low frequency. Our computer screens, our smartphones, this is low frequency. And see, when you have these low frequencies, particularly the lighting that's illuminating the whole room with these low frequencies, that's what that environment will vibrate to. And if you're sitting in it, that's what you will vibrate to. However, if you put high frequency elements around you, like that, where high frequencies come from are live energy of the earth, things of the ground, you know, rocks, stones, live plants, trees, and even like instead of the artificial lighting, if you use like candle lighting, candle is or fire is a high vibrational live element. This is the frequencies that your environment will vibrate to, and that you will vibrate to if that's what you're sitting in. If you're playing the low frequency music, then you will absorb that. If you're playing like the 432 hertz, that's perfect harmony, then you will vibrate up to that. So these negative entities they feed off of low vibrations. The good entities, all that is good.
The reason I'm saying that is because it's like, for me, I can't sleep in a completely dark room because then my mind starts running 100 miles an hour, even though I'm sleeping. And then also, I have that.
Do you have any salt lamps in your house?
No, I need to get some though.
Yes, you do. I have 5 of them right around my sleeping area right now. You want to get some salt lamps, okay, and you can keep those on. You can keep them on 24 hours because what they actually do is they send ions into the air. You know, they keep working all the time. So if you keep those on, those will you won't be in total darkness, but it won't affect your quality of sleep. They're high vibrational. Or if you have a safe place where you can sleep with some candles lit, I do that too. If you don't have pets that will knock them over, or kids that will knock them over, or anything like that.
We don't have any pets. No.
Light some candles and sleep to the candle light of those, because that's high frequency. That's what you want to do. Put some live plant in your environment. If you have plastic or artificial plants, get them out because they don't do nothing. They're empty. Put live plants in there. All these things that can.
You don't have anything in here. It's just this. It's like we don't have. The funny thing is, like, we don't have pictures in here. We don't have. It's just the walls. We don't have. We don't have.
Okay,
like, we don't own a TV or radio. So, you have to create an environment that's high vibrational. That's what you have to do. Get some rocks.
I have rocks all over the place, and I have 4 special rocks that stay in the bed with me that I can feel their energy from. Just, like I said, plants, salt lamps, candles. Make your environment pleasing, but pleasing because you have live vibrational energy in there, and you will absorb that. You will vibrate to that.
Okay. I will definitely start doing that.
But make your home. Make your like
sea salt, frankincense, and myrrh, like in the corners of the house and stuff like that to keep the house calm.
Yes, those are good too. And whatever room you sit in, like for me, it's my back bedroom. Okay, I don't even really use the front of my house. And I've turned my bedroom into, it's very tranquil to me. I'd rather be here than be anywhere else because I've made it an environment that is so pleasing and so it's like my sanctuary. Do that. Do that for yourself. It will make a big difference. I'm talking physically and emotionally and on a soul level. It will make a huge difference.
Well, my dear, it was fantastic talking to you. Tell Lance I say goodnight. I really have to go to sleep.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to fight the sleep and my headache is getting worse. And I just finished drinking tea, 2 glasses of water, and my headache is not going away. So.
Well, I hope you feel better, sweetheart. I hope you feel better, sweetheart. I'm here, but I started multitasking with some other things, and I'm here.
Yeah,
but...
we know that. Yeah, your name is Mr. Multitasker.
I'll tell you some real funny stories off of the air. Some gems when you get a chance. And I'm probably going to wrap this down now anyway, because what I want to say to you, Heidi, and to Lisa, I want to leave the line where you don't need me to come on. Like, say, for example, you don't have to come on every night if you don't want to, but like nights that I might be still at work and it may be earlier, I want to have it set up where you can call in, but it has to be 2 people or more. So if you call in and you wait around and you say, hey, around 7:30, 8, whatever the time is, I'll make it up. But you know that if you wanted to put the word out yourself, like, hey, let's get a bunch of us on now, then you can come on. And then you can all have the wonderful conversation when you need it. That you can reach out on Facebook and say, hey, I'm going to be on, the line right now. Please, somebody join me so we can talk. Not that you're begging, but it's like there may be people out there who are feeling the same way. So I want to provide that and leave that like that you can get on. And it will record, but that's good because it's something that can help others who listen to it. So
well, Heidi can look me up if she wants to connect with me, and then if you get that set up.
Yeah. Well, put it this way: it's just a matter of calling in, because I do believe I already have it set up that way. If you just call in.
The thing is, Lance, when I do call in, it keeps saying you have to wait for the organizer. You have to wait, because I'll press 1 and be like, hey, let's talk about this. But it always just keeps going right back to the same thing over.
Okay.
And I'm like,
okay. No, well, that tells me but it tells me what I need to do, that I need to open it up some more, and I'm going to test it. But ultimately, I can do it that way. It's always been like that in the past, but I thought I'd change it over. But I'm going to make sure that way. Now, if you get on there and there's nobody else on there, you're not going to hear anything. But when somebody comes on, and when you come on, announce yourself, say, hey, I'm here. Then after that, then you can go on your own social media, like say your own Facebook, and say, hey, I'm on right now. Who wants to join me? Or go in the talk show room and say, who wants to join me? We're on right now. That way you don't need me with my limited schedule. You know what I mean? That if a Sunday night is going on, I'll get on at 10:30. But the thing is, if y'all are up and ready to go on from 6 or 7, go do it. And it's open for you. It's like, hey, the car door is not locked. The keys are in there. Go ahead and take the car for a spin if you want.
It's just like my husband is knocked out, and I'm over here just talking, and I'm like, my head is spinning, and I'm supposed to be in my bed sleeping.
Right. I know. Well, this thing will do that to you that way and have that kind of effect. And yes, also, Lisa,
but it's like I enjoy. This is like my kind of. I call this like my therapy now. Like when we get on the phone and we talk.
Well, it is for me too.
Like,
trust me.
I think I sent you a text message. I said like Jack and myself are like the elders of the whatever. It's just like we both have. Like we both have similar concepts, except his is a little more intense compared to mine, but it's like as though we.
It's a kindred spirit.
Like if we don't have this, like by having this group, this is a way to vent some of this stuff.
Exactly.
Educating people in the process. So.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. I couldn't do this by myself. It's not about me. All of you who bring the wisdom and the fire and the truth. Notice how it's a pleasure for me. I can sit here and multitask and listen on. I'm a guest too.
Yeah, I feel like I just been telling Lisa, I feel like the reason when you were talking about what happened with the bank and all that, I'm like, maybe that's what it was. It was like, here is the light that is not going to allow this thing or whatever it is. Here's like, hey, I'm not going to entertain whatever you're talking about. So you can keep staring at me and talking, but I'm going to shut you down, and you can continue with the America is Great speech. But I know there's something deeper behind you that's making you behave like this. So I was like, maybe that's what you were dealing with your friend at the bank and stuff. Did you feel it like that or no?
Heidi, I had to get off. I had a quick phone call. What was the last part that you just said about?
No,
I heard the first part.
I feel like the reason you were having this issue at the bank with your friends,
yes,
is because it was more of two entities instead of two people conversating, or
right.
You know, by you saying what you were saying, it kind of ruffles its feathers.
Yeah, and also
so I was like, that's why the guy, the person, the physical thing kept on talking about the America is Great speech.
Right.
Because it was I can't fight this guy, so.
Right. He had to go into his repetitive chant. But this is the thing, though.
Right. And I'm that's why you were getting stared at the whole time before you actually opened your mouth.
Right. Now,
because he was an agent for the Matrix, and you were trying to save somebody from the Matrix.
Right. That's what it was. But let me just tell you that all weekend that thing followed me. It wasn't just it wasn't the Asian guy was an agent for the Matrix, right? But like a tornado that jumps, that spirit followed me all weekend in every single thing that I do. And I have another story I want to share on a live stream that's probably going to be short too, in the same spirit. I'm telling you, and that means I'm doing good. That means I'm raising myself to. I'm not doing it. It's just happening because of my submission to all things righteous. But my awareness is increasing, and people can see that. They can see that I can see it. You see, they feel it. It's in your walk. It's in your gaze. It's in your stride. It's in what emanates out of you. It's not even physical.
It intimidates them.
Exactly.
Because they can see you are so authentic that you can see behind their artificial mask, and they feel exposed and they feel intimidated.
Yes. That goes even so much deeper than what you know. The actual, but you know the concept. But I'm just saying, as far as what I've been going through. But this whole weekend, and at the end of the day, it still left me. I got so involved with my emotions to a point that I knew what it was, but I was still pissed. Like, wow, it's really this bad out here. And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to run through everything. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do more of what I need to do. And I'm going to be more. And, I'm hyped. And, I can't become derailed in my enthusiasm, but I'm fiery right now. I'm fiery right now.
Keep, before I get off the phone, Lance, you need to keep, like she was saying, the thing with the salt, you need to get you some salt rocks.
I have them.
Sea salt rocks.
Yeah, no, if you look at the live stream, You'll see it. I got them all over the house.
No, I'm talking about while you're at work and things like that. You need to keep these things with you. Like, I don't know if it's maybe in your pocket or something. You need to
yes.
This.
And crystals also. I want to get into the crystals also.
Yeah, well, if you can get the sea salt with the frankincense and the myrrh and literally keep those things with you, you will start, because frankincense actually makes people tell the truth to a degree where it's not going to sound nice, but it keeps, I have a friend of mine, she uses it a lot, and she says that's what keeps a lot of things out of her home. Because, like, the minute people come in there, it's like they say what they really want to say. And she says sometimes it kind of throws you off a little bit, but it keeps things bad. It keeps anything that's negative out of your environment in so many words. So even if you're on the bus with whatever is going on the bus,
and you know it firsthand because that's how we met. Yeah.
Yeah. So you might want to keep that with you. You definitely want to keep that with you, especially with all the stuff that's going on. Because, like I said earlier, the spirit, even with the wisdom, you still need to feed it. It still needs that strength. It still needs that. It needs the sun, the heat of the sun for it to manifest. It can't manifest off of sugar. It's not going to work. So.
Wow. Well, Heidi just texted me she lost her connection, and I know you're hitting off in the bed right now. I'm going to do some more multitasking and, wind down myself naturally and just meditate a little bit. But I'm going to try my best to do more of these like this, whether they're long, short, whether you can make it or not, it will be here. And if you really feel the need,
if you can go to a nursery, if you are able to go to a nursery, a plant nursery, and see if you can actually find the leaves or the actual seeds of these things, that will help too, because it's in its natural form.
Yeah.
So, the best way to get sea salt is to actually go to the beach and then fill up a bottle and just let it kind of dry out, and you'll get the salt. And then keep that, just leave it the way it is. Cleanse, don't wash it off. Just add your incense and your myrrh and just kind of keep that in your, I don't know, if you can find, maybe your wife can make you one, like one of those little potpourri bags, and just keep it in your shirt or near you, because as you awaken, man, I'm telling you, that stuff is going to make you feel like your hair about to turn all kind of colors, isn't it? You don't have none.
I'm afraid to let it grow out. I think it already did turn all kind of colors, but at least the mind under the head, under the hair, is alive and popping. So we good that way.
Well, I just finished telling that lady, I'm glad that I'm able to get on the show with you, man, because it is amazing what we hear and learn on this thing, because it's like there's a reason for everything, and whether people want to believe it or not, it's not just, you don't meet people just for meeting people. It's always something, good or bad, is a reason behind it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, you have a wonderful night, man, and
thank you so much.
Peace and love to you and the wife.
Always.
I gotta go
you and your husband. All right.
Yeah, my poor baby knocked out asleep over here, and I'm running my mouth.
But at least he knows where you are. You know what I mean? You're right there.
Exactly, right?
I'm going to do the same thing, sweetheart. You have a wonderful night, and I'll reach out to you at some point tomorrow on one of my breaks.
All right, man. Well, yeah, but like I said, if you can go to the nursery, and then another thing that also helps, too, is to get it's called a catnip. Yeah, it's going to get, I don't want to say it doesn't get worse. It's just the roller coaster has just started. So enjoy the ride.
And I'm enjoying it because I want to empower myself and strengthen from within and escape to that goodness from within. But thanks so much, Heidi. You bring so much wisdom in you. I can't wait
Always,
to listen
man.
to this.
You have a blessed night. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Definitely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at lancescurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under Lance Scurv.
If you like this show and you enjoyed yourself, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that every video that I put up, you'll get a notification when it goes up. Also, if you have anybody that you'd like to have interviewed on the Lance Scurv Show, hit me up, 407-590-0755. The Lance Scurv Show is not just about talk, we're about putting in that work, and that's the difference. Bring it on. Let's talk and let's share. Take care until next time.